trend. Fuck right now, fuck right now, fuck right now. Fuck right now, fuck right now, fuck right now. Fuck right now, fuck right now, fuck right now. Fuck right now, fuck right now, let's go. Fuck right now, let them hoes in the go.
He next to blow, he gon' need more room to grow. V on cold, open bottles, let it pour. Over the ice, almost as nice as my flow. Rice in the bowl, diamonds and rose gold. Time froze, your bitch chose. Quick thinking, she on her toes. I've been dropping drop-offs on time, I'm on the road. Money to blow, your best friend don't wipe your nose. For a price, it'll probably be low. Damn, that was your man's, or so you thought. Until shit hit the fan, them niggas flounders. They just fish in the pan, them niggas scoundrels. We keep the plans, get them from around you. Don't act like you're the only ones who getting money. Next time I watch all of them niggas stones looking funny. They test real, but the quality is like ill. You just cop them things with the chrome wheel. Amazing Frankie Beverly on the terrace in Beverly Hills. It sound heavily. My next record was Stephanie Mills. Then I played that Sherilyn. Got to be real. She said I'm a vibe curator. She just wanna be near. Baby, come here. My flow top tier. My top drop like a tear. Game sharp as a spear. Foot in the dough. Kick it in for my bro. He next to blow. He gon' need more room to grow. V on cold. Open bottles, let it pour. Over the ice. Almost as nice as my flow. Rice in the bowl. Diamonds and rose gold. Time froze. Your bitch chose. Quick thinking. She on her toes. I've been making drop-offs on time. I'm on the road. Money to blow. Your best friend will wipe your nose. For a price, it'll probably be low. Damn, that was your man's. So you thought till shit hit the fan. Them niggas flounders, they just fish in the pan. Them niggas scoundrels, we keep the plan. Get them from around you. Hear what I'm saying? Told her rule number one, don't talk about me around yo. That shit there. Yeah. I got homies I never see again. I got bitches I don't want to see no more. Got this big ass chain I barely even wear. I got a Bentley in my warehouse that I never drove. I'm selling rhymes, I'm selling weed, I never sold my soul. I'm selling clothes, I'm selling bikes, I'm selling cereal. My flow imperial, my Impala 64. Dipping up the road, I'm really hitting switches, not just saying that shit in my songs. Anything I got, I put that on. All I need is these beats, a lit cone, cold bottles in my headphones. When I get home, my girl gon' perform. Take my mind off the war that's going on, but only for a minute. I gotta get back in it. I'm really hustling for the millions. Ain't that why you did me? Really? Ain't that why you did me? I got homies I never see again. I got bitches I don't want to see no more. I got this big ass chain I barely even wear. I got a Bentley in my warehouse that I never drove. I got homies I never see again. I got bitches I don't want to see no more. I got this big ass chain I barely even wear. I got a Bentley in my warehouse that I never drove.
Yeah, spirit the ecstasy pimp, called it a chrome lady. Partner got sent down the road, he ain't been home lately. Rotation simple shit, I passed the meat. Literally, might have a shotgun in the passenger seat. I'm talking dope, I never sell again. I ran off on the plug, ain't trying to make amends. Soon as I blew up, he start telling folks I work for him. I said I want it, you got it, nigga, like Soldier Slim. Now let me talk to him. Lamborghini bar stool, tattoos over war wounds. Where I'm from, playing dumb can sometimes be a smart move. Who did what? Did you know who? Won't know him forever. 2 + 2, rose gold letters. Too much juice, too many vessels. Whole nother level. How you stab your bro in the back? Nothing but the devil. Road to riches, put it in overdrive. I done counted 100,000 at least 100 times.
I got homies I never see again.
Yeah.
I got bitches I don't want to see no more. I got this big ass chain I barely even wear. I got a Bentley in my warehouse that I never drove. I got homies I never see again. I got bitches I don't want to see no more. I got this big ass chain I barely even wear. I got a Bentley in my warehouse that I never drove.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Tabby Falcone, off the grid, still living, sending millions back home, mashing on till it's gone. All I know, cause I was born in the hustler zone, rolling dolo, but I'm not alone. Sloppy lyrics, not how I got on. Unorthodox delivery, for which that I'm known. Skill level shown, when obstacles were thrown. On the road while rolling towards my goal, but it was on getting stone. It's the method within my lyrics, encrypted instructions on living better. Don't quit now, you just a heartbeat away from the cheddar. If this idea don't work, I bet the next one catch 'em. Don't stress it, just keep chefing. The whole gang and eat once the recipe's perfected. Highway chase to the paper, dog, don't miss your exit. No capital letters. Saturday night live, turn to easy Sunday morning, wiping down my ride. Just a heartbeat away from being outside. My low riders like city park swings and slides. Gold spokes on my white wall tires, all they got it cause I really tried. God used me as example, so I really shine. Many shades can't block it, brakes can't stop it. Haters try to knock it cause this man laid a slide in my back, Chevy hopping. Niggas like fake rollers in their houses, tick-tocking. I'm measuring my patio, I'm fitting to order some new weatherproof couches. Shoot straight, never slouch it. Started so many styles, niggas copying me and honestly don't really know where they got it. I'm a prophet, I'm a problem, I got purchasing power. $100,000 cars, I cop them, not a thought about them. Told out people number one, don't talk about me around your nigga. Don't quit now, you just a heartbeat away from my joint went out. Yeah.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Papered up, but it's never enough. Count cake in the cut, never paying for love. Niggas say they with us, that's the ultimate bluff. You done known that was cat. Had you seen this car when you pulled up? We arrived, Rolls Royces with the satellites. My race through, customized. Now I got the stars and the planets in mind. From New Orleans, I learned from ballers, so of course I shine. Without trying, it's in my bloodline. My cousin Quinn still in South Central renting on this 59. We know it ain't overnight, we'll be low riding in due time. Sunrise, I was already up before it. Smoking, coming up with more doja, putting them plays in motion. Overall, just going forward. That's what I preach, that's what I breathe, that's what I really mean. Work the can wrong when he came with the paint. All like prime time in 89. Mike Tyson championship, fighting while you high, sitting ringside. When I write, I bring things to life. Kill a game, keeping the shit alive. Hope you understand what's at hand. This shit I'm giving you could kill you, fool, or make you a rich man. Just watch who you bring with you when you come through. You bring them busters, I can't fuck with you. We can't touch it. Range Rovers in different colors. They think we slinging bond and rubber. They sending undercovers. They think we smuggling. But the music we pumping, that's what's bringing money. And they think it's drugs and shit, but it's just love and shit. Yeah.
Man, how they go blame us? don't really know what a nigga been through. How they blame us. Yeah. How they go blame us. They don't really know what a nigga been through. How they blame us. Yeah. Back on the road, on a bigger mission. Turn cash to assets and then we dipping. Long nights on the bus, gotta make a difference. Said fuck it, dropped 100 on this road penny. I'm a new legend, but wasn't overnight. What you know about this jet life? Man, this that 5-star Michelin. Upgrade the kitchen shit, we be on that different, yeah. Private banks out the way, just in case. Moved 350 yesterday, that's just how we play. And dog patch, eating lunch with dad. Talking about stock and some numbers on the real estate. They don't really know what a nigga been through. How they blame us. Yeah. How they go blame us. They don't really know what a nigga been through. How they blame us. Yeah. TFF, Jet Life, Numbers, Harry Fry was happening. Shit.
I got 30 calls, I'm hitting.
Ladies and gentlemen, players and playettes, everybody around the world, it's your boy Perfect Timing Podcast. We back with another one, baby. How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing, man? That's that good Currency Regatta, man. Pick that up if you ain't downloaded that. That's my favorite artist right there. I think he didn't put out 4 projects in the last couple months. The boy going hard. The boy always go hard, though. So that's what we rocking with to just get the vibes right today. Just finished that good cardio. So we feeling real good, man. You know what I'm saying? So I already got a video queued up. We got a bunch of topics today, man. Make sure y'all make that Cash App ring. I got my phone right here, man. Let me make sure I got my I got it turned up so I can hear that Cash App. Make that Cash App ring, man. Make sure you share the video. I was sharing the video during the countdown session, Countdown to Perfect. Make sure you share the video, you know what I'm saying? Today is another beautiful day. Let's get the topics up there. Oh, I look good. Oh, I look good. We looking good today, family. We looking good. We look good every day, man. It's what we do. It's kind of like what we do, man. We blessed, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? All blessings due to the Most High, man. Speaking of that, let's do our prayer, man. Right? It's only fitting. You know what I'm saying? We always circle around to that. You know what I'm saying? As I went ahead and pulled up the topics, it made me think about how I got to caught a glimpse of myself. And I thought about how much I love myself, how good I look, and I say, you know, it's all blessing to the Most High and Grandma right there. So let's get some props, man. God, thank you once again for another blessed day. We could be anywhere. You know, that's one of my favorite lines right there. Thank you for this microphone. Thank you for the lab. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for this voice. Thank you for compelling me to once again come before your flock and be able to speak once again. Thank you for empowering me with this voice and with this intellect. Thank you for divinely inspiring the message, Father. Thank you for your guidance, for your direction, for your resilience, for your confidence, for your strength. Father, once again, we come to you today with humbly, head bowed, eyes closed, and we want to say graciously thank you, Father, and a blessing to be upon those who listen to the message, that they be blessed and that they be guided, that they be affected by the word that they hear, that it be as effective for them as effective for me in my life. Those who may be driving on the highways and byways, I pray a safe journey and a blessing upon their transition, and that they're successful in all their endeavors, Father. Thank you for all your blessings, Father. Thank you for all your blessings. Once again, we could be anywhere. We could be anywhere. We don't take for granted the opportunity you placed upon us. We don't take for granted the gifts that you've given us. And we say thank you. Amen. We back. Oh, man, I pushed the wrong button. So we got a couple good topics today. We got Raiders, but the Raiders story is about a young brother, man. It's an unfortunate story. It's about Henry Ruggs. We got election day coverage. You know, on Tuesday, it's a lot of election day stuff. Yesterday, we talked about Lexit, but only briefly because yesterday we went into, and I'm very great show yesterday, everybody. Fire show, man. When we ended up really driving home this ideal of budgeting and being able to and knowing that a budget is a positive thing for men and for fathers, and the understanding of the hurdles of preparing a budget and having a conversation at that dinner table as a leader, as the head of household, as the king, and establishing that budget. It's actual direction. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about estate planning, another word for estate planning is budgeting. So we started off with the turkeys and the toys going up, and we ended up on budgeting. And I was extremely proud that we led there and that we were able to give that type of information to fathers and father power. We briefly got upon Lexic. The thing that I'm leading into Lexic. Lexic is the Latino exit of the Democratic Party. Now, in my research in today's, what I have been researching is this upcoming race in Virginia. This upcoming race in Virginia is like a bellwether. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but things are really shaky right now for the current administration. You know what I'm saying? Some of the worst approval numbers ever. And you got this phrase, and I didn't know for a long time. It's funny. I talked about individuals from another complexion creating their own culture. So it's this phrase called "Let's Go Brandon." I don't even know if it's appropriate to say, you know what I'm saying? Because people have been getting in trouble for saying it. So there was actually a pilot on the airplane who got in trouble for saying "Let's Go Brandon." So from what my research found out, "Let's Go Brandon" is another way for saying a derogatory term toward the current president and administration that I won't repeat. Because one of the things I said that it was unfortunate with my brother Nipsey Hussle, my birthday twin, and that song that he made with YG about the previous administration. I believe he ruffled some feathers unduly that he could still be here doing a lot of great work. I don't think it was worth making that comment. As for number one, I don't dislike Trump. I don't understand why a lot of people dislike Trump. I think Trump was one of the best presidents. In retrospect, we'll see how great of a president he was. Now, as I talk about Lexit, as I lead into Election Day 2021, now, again, Lexit is the Latino exit from the Democratic Party. You've heard of Blexit, and then so Blexit and Lexit is based on Brexit. So, we didn't go that deep into it yesterday, but it's Election Day 2021, so why not go into it today? So Brexit, anybody in the chat, feel free to go ahead and define these terms, because you know we like to define terms here. So we're giving people a lead up to the understanding of why and what's going on right now. We've been talking about it. Even me and Suncard was talking about, and it made me feel good how Suncard recalled the story that we did on the female governors and how female governors outnumber minority governors right now. So it's a very impactful show, but we're talking about Brexit. Brexit was the exit from Britain from the UK, right? So you may have heard about, and then they had a brand new vote over there, and the guy won. But then what happened was the economy began to suffer. So what happened with Brexit, and this is emblematic of everybody using the same term. What happened with Brexit is that with Brexit, they wanted to put borders around Britain, but the thing is, in Britain, it's very classist, and everybody in the hotels, in the service industry, the janitors, everybody who works in the restaurants, they come from outside of Britain. So you have a lot of Indians, you have a lot of brown people who work and support that economy, right? But they wanted to close the borders to these brown people. They didn't want to associate with the brown people, but the brown people needed to work there. So they kept putting off the closing of the borders. They had this whole debate about the EU. And it's funny how you don't hear a lot about Brexit anymore and the difficulties that they were having, right? What was the end result? Anybody want to look up for me what was the end result of Brexit? So that was the beginning. So Brexit was Britain exiting out of the UK, right? And the EU, that's the dollar, that's everything. And then the issues that they were going to have with transportation and the similar things that you have with the migrants right now coming into the United States. So then you had Blexit. So Blexit is, and you hear the Perfume song, you hear some of the other older dudes in the manosphere that's not really part of what I do. I'm not really part of that shit. Talk about Blexit. Blexit is an exit from the black community. So when you hear Blexit, you're referring to black women and black women no longer dating black men. That's the first time I heard the term Blexit. Right? It's black women exiting the black community, right? So, and black women freeing themselves and giving themselves choice. Now, that was the first time I've heard of Blexit. Black men, you know, as you may have known in from the manosphere, black men have a term called SYSBM. And recently the Perfume song came out SYSBM, similar to Blexit, right? So you have black women with Blexit, you have black men with SYSBM. I don't know why we need these terms or why it's such a big deal, especially in the day of gender, in the day of gender fluidity, right? So you have Brexit, you have Blexit, and now you have Lexit. Boy, we like these terms, right? We love these terms, right? So we got Brexit, that was Britain's exit. We got Blexit, that was black women's exit. Now we got Lexit, that's Latinos' exit. So the funny thing is that about when I was doing my research today, right, about Election Day 2020, I found a really good I've been watching a podcast, and there was a great discussion about the Democratic Party, right? And this is awakening a realization that not only Latinos have been going through, but in the past election, you found that a lot of and you know my brother Gerald don't like when we say black, right? But a lot of indigenous people of color, we're feeling the same way about the Democratic Party. So during this last election, there was a lot of talk about how the Democratic Party came to be, how the Democratic Party was the original party of the KKK, how the Republican Party was the original black party, and things like that. So I was just just checking on the stream right here, you guys. Just checking on the stream right here, you guys. Yo, let's do some introductions, man. We did our prayer. My name is Perfect Timing. My name, a lot of people call me Perfect. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast, part of the Perfect Timing Podcast networks. We have a few different channels, locations, and a couple different shows, man. I'm extremely proud of what God has blessed us with and what I've been able to create and what I put together here. You know what I'm saying? So again, my name is Perfect. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast of the Perfect Timing Podcast network. I have a couple YouTube channels. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast channel. You also have a backup YouTube channel that I need you all to subscribe to. That's the Perfect Timing Podcast live channel. So there's not a lot of interaction on that chat. So if you're not a person that likes to see the chat and the interaction and arguing, I suggest you watch the show for the Perfect Timing Podcast live YouTube page. I'm also live on YouTube right now. There's a lot of people who frequent YouTube versus I apologize. I'm also live on Facebook right now. Shout out Facebook. I get a lot of love from Facebook, man. I'm going to spend a lot more time on Facebook after watching Cali Muscle and Cali Muscle explaining how YouTube don't treat black content creators fair, and he doesn't make a lot of his money on YouTube. So he makes most of his money via Facebook. So I've been cultivating this Facebook audience, man. And in the beginning, a lot of people gave me compliments like, it's so good, it's so good. And I'm at home thinking of ways to grow the channel. So I always know about business is diversification, right? So that's why you find me on multiple channels on YouTube and multiple platforms. I'm also on Instagram. All of this information is in the description. I'm extremely proud of the description. Every day I'm tweaking and fine-tuning the description. So please read the paragraph in the description that speaks to the new platform, the new format. So we have the Perfect Timing Podcast live, and we have Perfect Timing Podcast of the Perfect Timing Podcast Network. We have The Rock, which is my Sunday sermon church show. That's on hiatus, but you can find the playlist in the description. We also have the Perfect Man Show that's currently hiatus with 75 episodes. 4-hour episodes, 5 days a week, 75 episodes, kicking much tail, perfect timing. Yeah, a lot of money. SunClaw was very right, and thank you for that compliment, SunClaw. A lot of time, effort, and money invested in creating that type of level of content. So we got almost over 100 videos on the channel. So this is a lot of commitment and in quality. You know what I'm saying? There's no cat videos. You know what I'm saying? You know, all of my videos are replay. Shout out to She. We here with that replay gang. All of my videos got that replay value. So, you know what I'm saying? So this is just a little interlude and introduction. My name is Perfect again. Once again, Perfect Timing Podcast Network. So you got The Rock is my Sunday service show. Check out that playlist in the description. You got The Perfect Man Show. That was a journey to Apothos with different branded days throughout the week, 75 shows. That playlist is also in the description. Now we on our brand new podcast, The World is Yours. It's yours. And this is a podcast funded by a listener, produced by the listener, directed by the listener, funded by the listener, for the listener, by the listener, for the listener, by the listener, for the listener, by the listener. So the way it works is, family, you donate to this podcast. I wanted to empower the listener. You know what I'm saying? It's a twofold process. The Perfect Man Show had reached the precipice where I was creating such a product. And when you have something that you're creating that makes people better, you gotta, in order to generate value, interest, and so people commit to the process, you might have to have a level of penance, right? So that's what's going to come in a monetary form with the Perfect Man Show to make sure that my brothers are committed to the journey, correct? So with the World is Yours podcast, just like Perfect Timing said from the beginning, this is a place for the undiscussable. We're no longer asking permission. So I wanted to empower you for the fact that I'm investing the time and the money and the effort. Let's empower the listener. Let's empower the viewer to not only donate, but be part of the show, part of the process, part of the change. So you donate, you solicit, you suggest topics, you suggest different, if you want to get on a panel, if you want to do a debate, if you want to do a one-on-one, it's all on a donation basis. So that's the World is Yours podcast, empowering the listener to actually produce the show, create the show, and be a part of the show. So that's what it's all about, man. So Lexit, man, Lexit is the Latino exit of the Democratic Party. So what you have here is in this last election, you had a lot of discussion of the beginnings of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And for the first time, a lot of Black people or people of color, Americans of color, right? Indigenous, shout out to my brother Gerald in Canada. I ain't seen you on the panel in a minute, but a lot of Indigenous people of color were Republicans after Reconstruction and slavery. And that was when we were the most affluent. We had the most congressmen, the most senators, the most land, and you know what I'm saying. During that time, that was the most affluent time for us, and for us in the recent future is that time when we were Republicans after Reconstruction. The Dixie Party, the Democrats, was where the KKK was started, and Tulsa and all this stuff was Democrats. And the discussion in my research today, as we discuss 2021, as we discuss Lexit, as we discuss Let's Go Brandon. Let's go Brandon. As we discuss the Virginia race and what it means for Let's Go Brandon, we take a look at the origins of the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party has become. And in my research today, something that's been eerily spooky, obvious to intelligent people about the Democratic Party is that I said when Biden won that actually what happened was Silicon Valley won. The oligarchies won. That the oligarchies actually hired Biden. Just like in Godfather 2, right? When they talked about having enough money to get the president, just like JFK, just like this always worked in politics in America, but we turn a blind eye. We all know Trump didn't lose that race. So how did Biden was hired. Biden was hired by the powers that be and the oligarchies to push their agenda. And what has Biden, I said this in the beginning. Oh, perfect. Oh, it's conjecture. Oh, perfect. You don't know how they gonna hire. Oh, no, I voted. Oh, Biden won. And no, man. No. What the research found today that was so telling is that the Democratic Party has become the ultra rich. Not just rich, but the Democratic Party is Apple, is Google, is Facebook, is Mark Zuckerberg, is the ultra rich. Not only the ultra rich and Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi, but ultra elitist. It's become ultra rich and ultra elitist. It is no longer the party of the people. I.e. Lexit, I.e. Lexit, I.e. Lexit. That is why you have Lexit. But I challenge them on that. I challenge you on Lexit because I did a story here when we were catching hell, when black men were catching hell, when black men were getting kicked out of houses, when black men were getting kicked out of cars, when black men were getting kicked out of relationships for supporting Trump, when Trump had equal opportunity zones, when black men for the first time in 20 years saw affluence and upward mobility under Trump, we got shit on. We got talked about get your booty to the poll. But when the exit polls came out, what did we see? We saw Latinos overwhelmingly voted white and voted Republican. So is Lexit real? I mean, it might be real. I mean, if you look at everybody talking about it, they don't even look Latino. It's all these blonde, blue-eyed, Aryan, Anglo-Saxon type of, and they even playing on the fact that people call them white and call them racist. It's almost like they're bullying. No, I feel like they're bullying because if you look, I'm a fan of John King. I'm a fan of John King and CNN. And if you've been paying attention to any exit polls for the past couple of elections, it's been obvious. I remember a beautiful Latino woman on the panel with CNN, and she talked about the 3 pillars of the Republican Party. And she was saying Latinos are skewing Republican and blacks are skewing Republican because blacks and Latinos have always been traditionally conservative. Now this liberal monster was growing bigger and bigger. So I listened to her because I grew up conservative black. I grew up in the Black Baptist Church. My uncle was a Jehovah's Witness. You can't get more conservative Jehovah's Witness. We got Seventh-day Adventists on the panel. I grew up conservative black. When she was talking about, I've said on this panel that the minorities that we look up to so much, the minorities that we seek to marry, when we talk about Blexit, when we want to marry out, when we say we want to marry a Latino, when we want to marry an Asian, we're talking about Latino Americans. We're talking about Asian Americans, and those Asian Americans and Latino Americans don't have that same culture back in their country. When they came to America, they mimicked the leading minority. I told you who that leading minority was after Reconstruction, after slavery, when the trains and the railroads were being built. Who had the most senators? Who had the most representation? Who had the most power? It wasn't Latinos. It wasn't Asians. It was blacks. They modeled themselves after us. They modeled themselves after us. We was put to a race to the bottom, or the race to the bottom, the race to the bonnet versus the race to the bottom. Race to the bottom implies when we define race to the bottom, the race to the bottom, it talks about replacing a standard, erasing a standard and replacing it with the substandard. Erasing a current standard and replacing it with a substandard, where the substandard becomes now the new normal. Does that sound familiar to anybody? It's spooky, right? So when they did this to us, then who assumed our position? The Asian American and the Latino American. So yes, the Latino American and the Asian American skews conservative because they model themselves after who they saw here as the most lucrative or the most powerful minority at the time that they came to America. What did blacks do? What is black culture? What are we always trying to get back to? What does Minister Jap show when he shows these 90 movies? What is the perfume song with those mannequins in the back of him when he talks about this is a neckline, this is a waist, this is a collarbone? Remember Jap talking about the 90s movies and he pointed out the collarbone? What are they trying to get back to? When we talk about traditional marriage and relationship, they're trying to get back to that time. What did we do during that time? I remember I was in a play, a Martin Luther King play, and I had to act out a day in the life of that time. I reminisce about that time too. You couldn't wear jeans. I talk about this a lot. There was a dress code at public schools. Jeans was for bad boys. Jeans was for gangs. Jeans for when you went to work. Boys couldn't wear jeans to school. Public school, you couldn't wear jeans. You wore hard bottom shoes. Tennis shoes weren't allowed because tennis shoes, everything was appropriate. Everything had its appropriate place. Why would you wear tennis shoes to school? You're not going to be playing. You're going to be learning. You're going to be prepared. At school, you look professional like you're going to work. Do you remember the kids from the 50s and the 60s, SNCC? Remember the protesting? Y'all might think that they got dressed up. That's how people look when they went to school. You were prepared for work. You were professional. You were just same way you went to church. So imagine coming from a third world country. Imagine coming from an impoverished country, Pacific Island, or a bombed out China, or somewhere Latino, South American country, and you come into this land of the home and the free and the brave, and you see these melanated people looking gorgeous with their hair pressed, wearing beautiful dresses, carrying Bibles and books, going to school, going to church, working hard day to day, building a life here in America. Wouldn't you aspire to do the same thing? Wouldn't you be in awe? I'm describing a time when we were Republicans and why you see the Lexit and is it a valid thing? Because I've been watching this happen for the past 20 years, and it's happened because these individuals have based themselves off of who my grandmother was. That person that we're always harping on in this community, that woman that we want, this traditional lifestyle that we're talking about. That's when this traditional lifestyle, this church, this also went along with politics. We were political. We leave that out. We had banks. We saved money, we had bank accounts, and we voted and we paid our taxes. So we only talk about the relationship. We get hung up on the relationship and the woman and what we were doing with the woman and was the woman submissive and did all this shit. It was way more complex than that. So Lexit is talking about these things. Lexit is saying that Latinos identify what the Democrat Party has become. That the Democrat Party is no longer the party of the people, that it does not fight for the people anymore, that the Democratic Party represents the oligarchy in San Jose, Silicon Valley, Facebook, Google, and the like. So Latinos are saying that we will not be manipulated any longer by the Democratic Party. And I don't see any strip poll or anything like that picking on them. When black men in 2020 election were saying we no longer want to be manipulated by the Democratic Party, Joe Biden told Charlamagne that if you don't vote for me, you're not black. He didn't offer any tangibles. As soon as he got in office, shout out to Coffee Nino, I ain't seen him in the chat in the middle. As soon as he got in office, what did he do? He started handing out concessions to everybody but blacks. After he told you, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And the Asian hate crime bill was awarded to Asians and told you to stop hitting on Asians when we don't do that, when we know that Asians got gangs and triads, sell all the weed and gangs. Ain't nobody touching no Asian without getting murked. But it's okay. They use that to get agency. They want to use Dave Chappelle to get agency. What benefit have you been awarded? Male or female in this melanated community of America. And in fact, I believe you've been hindered. So what's going on in Virginia? I'm so glad I get this opportunity to speak freely about this because I was worried about actually speaking about Virginia. So what's going on in Virginia? Oh, this is even better. So in Virginia right now, you have a gubernatorial race. And in this gubernatorial race is a firestorm because it has a lot to do with the current climate here in America when it comes to the LCC. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it today, man. Hit the Cash App, man, so we can keep this shit flowing, man. Hit the Cash App, man. Everybody share the video, man. I've been sharing the video. Sometimes I feel like I be hesitant to share the video because I'm like, sometimes when I share the video, it has an opposite effect. I feel like when I don't share the video, it's more popular than when I do share the video, and it's discouraging. But it's like I get excited, I share the video, but it's like I can't figure it out. Like I share the video, it has an opposite effect. Like when I don't share the video, it's weird, man. It's Murphy's Law, man. So, but if you're out there, share the video. So, what do I got on? So for the Virginia race, man, the Virginia gubernatorial race, it breaks down to a LCC issue, and it's not no joke, man. It's not no. It's I wonder if we could find some breaking down the Virginia race. So there's an issue. There's an issue that took place in the bathroom in Virginia. There's a school board issue. So I was on the LCAP committee. It's a very sensitive issue to me. This a very sensitive issue to me. So I was on the LCAP committee. I was on the PTA, and I was a great member of the PTA. So the principal requested that I get put on the LCAP committee. The LCAP committee was a committee, a greater board of parents that would be able to help decide how budgets would be spent as they reallocated funds back to back to California to bring us back to a certain level, right? So in this meeting, I got to talk about how those funds should be allocated, right? What I found is that I was really disappointed. I was disappointed on how I was received as a father, how parents were received, how I was received as a indigenous person of color. So this has been obvious across. I ended up doing a show on teachers, a debate with Art. Me and Sunclaw really did a coffin nail on that show, and so I'm familiar with the way these PTA works, with the way these school board meetings work, and the way parents are treated. So a couple things are leading up and is really affecting this Virginia gubernatorial race. And it looks like it's affecting Biden. His poll numbers are down. This big shit that's going on right now. Today is election day. So what's taking place right now? So there's a gubernatorial race, Democratic, Republican, as you realize, but there was something that took place in the bathroom on school campus that relates to LCC issues and gender fluid bathrooms, right? So there was an alleged incident at one school, right? Parents are alleging that the incident was covered up, a child was hurt, right? And then the person who hurt the child was allowed to go to school to another school, right? So what happened was a boy wore a dress. They didn't say whether the boy was officially trans or not, but the boy wore a dress. He allegedly assaulted someone, and then they covered it up allegedly. And then this is fair use, fair use, fair use. And then the boy went to a new school and he did it again. So when the parents found out via a whistleblower of an internal email, they went to the school board to find out what happened, and the school board lied on camera, on the record, said that they never had anything incident because the parents would protest the gender fluid bathrooms. So this broke down to some Democratic liberal stuff, right? And then because it became a political thing where the Democrats were supporting the school board. And so this is what made the Virginia gubernatorial race a hot button issue. But let's see. So now you could imagine because of the LCC, because of the LCC aspect of the race,
The polls coming in, the poll average, it's basically even slightly.
it's affecting Biden. So we're going to take a look at my boy here. And then let's save a prayer for Steve, because Steve Kornak be doing the magic math, and Steve got sick. So, you know what I'm saying? He looking like he looking good. So let's take a look at how he doing, man. Fair use, fair use.
Slightly, actually, Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, ahead. What it translates into is an awful lot of suspense, as you say, in a state that Joe Biden didn't just win last year. He won by double digits, 10 points over Donald Trump. I think there are two things I'm going to be looking at very closely as the returns come in Virginia tonight. Number one is sort of, we'll call this the Trump backlash area of Virginia. The reason Biden was able to roll up such a big margin over Trump last year is particularly in the Washington, D.C. suburbs of Northern Virginia. Also, though, in the suburbs of Richmond here, you have seen long-term, meaning over the last 2 decades or so, movement towards the Democratic Party. But when Donald Trump became president in 2016, that movement accelerated. You saw massive, massive movement away from the Republicans toward the Democrats. It's why Biden was able to win so big. So, number one, there is how much of that have Democrats been able to hold on to? You mentioned it. Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, has been doing everything he can to get the name Donald Trump into the mix in this campaign. The Republican, Glenn Youngkin, has not exactly been welcoming that linkage, but that is the test here. McAuliffe wants to try to get that kind of Democratic support his party was enjoying in the Trump era. I'll give you one good example of it. Loudoun County, right here outside of Washington, D.C. Joe Biden won this county by 25 points last year. The last time there was a presidential election without Donald Trump, the Republican almost won Loudoun County. Romney came within about 4.5 points of winning Loudoun County less than 10 years ago. Donald Trump comes along. Republicans are losing by 25 points. How much of that 25 points can Glenn Youngkin and the Republicans chip away at? Can they erode? The other question I have is, if there is a Trump backlash areas in Virginia, there certainly are. There also were Trump surge areas in in Virginia. Talk specifically about Southwest Virginia, areas of the Shenandoah Valley. Let me highlight one in particular that really jumps out at me. Take a look here. Let me see if I can get it selected. Allegheny County here. We're getting into Appalachia. Look at this. Trump wins this county by 44 points. Now, a very small county, but I just want to show you the movement, because Donald Trump wins it by 44. Let's go back here to the last presidential election before Donald Trump came along, and look at this. Mitt Romney won this by less than 3 points. Donald Trump gained Republicans in margin more than 40 points in Allegheny County. And you saw movement, not necessarily quite that big, but you saw 20, 30, 35, 40-point movement in Southwest Virginia, Shenandoah, Virginia. There just aren't as many people in here as there are in Northern Virginia and the Richmond suburbs. But that's the other question for tonight. How much of that Trump surge can a non-Trump Republican hang on to?
Right. And as you said, the Trump surge happened in counties where you were talking about 5, 6, 7,000, 8,000 voters. Whereas you look at Loudoun County and the other counties around Washington, D.C., and they're massive suburban vote totals, which brings me to this point. I'm wondering what you're drawing out of the Trump effect. And I'm talking about Trump's negative effect. There are so many people asking, why did Republicans do well across the country, but Donald Trump still lost? Ron Johnson gave us that answer, of course, in that hidden video in Wisconsin, where he said all Republicans got the same amount of votes, whether we were running on state level, national level, except for Donald Trump. And he lost 50,000 votes. And that was because of the Trump effect, the negative effect. Could we be seeing that here in Virginia as well? That we're talking about all these massive trends that were breaking the Democrats' way, but at the end of the day, it was really just an overwhelmingly negative reaction to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, here's a way to look at it with what I was just telling you to keep that in mind here. If you kind of take this whole area of Virginia that I'm circling right here, all of this red right here. And again, the counties, they're very small, but they looked like I just showed you in Allegheny, generally just massive Trump victories. From this entire area in Virginia, Donald Trump beat Joe Biden by 230,000 votes last November. Okay, 230,000 votes from this massive swath. Now, just take what I'm circling here outside Washington, D.C. is Fairfax County. Inside here, you've got, it's that tiny little speck there is Arlington County. And then next door to that is the city of Alexandria, okay? Just right here, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 400,000 votes. So that is, when I say Trump backlash, and it's concentrated in suburbs, metropolitan areas, areas near to major cities, and Democrats just driving up enormous margins, you're talking about Arlington County right there, Biden getting 81% of the vote. Alexandria next door, Biden getting more than 80% of the vote. Fairfax County, Biden getting 70% of the vote. Squeezing out that kind of a plurality from that small an area geographically, and it absolutely dwarfs, almost doubles up what Trump is getting out of major land area right there. So again, my question tonight is not when you look at a Fairfax County or an Arlington County, something like that. It's not can Loudon win it, but can Loudon cut 10? Can Youngkin,
Fairfax.
cut 10 or 15 points off of what Trump lost? That I think would be key for Republicans.
Well, and that is Willie, of course, and that's when the question comes. If he does that, Willie, then Democrats have to start asking themselves whether they have to retool their message, whether they have to retool their strategy moving forward, because they're not all going to be running against Donald Trump, and they may not even be able to run against Donald Trump in 2024. As much as the Democratic Party fears Donald Trump politically, Trump actually is a guy that lost to Hillary Clinton by 3 million votes back in 2016. Only won at the end of the day because of a lark, because of Anthony Weiner's laptop, and because of Comey, and because of a number of other things, and the Comey letter actually coming out of that laptop, and so they've got a guy who obviously they loathe in office. But you look at a race like this, and when Trump's removed from the equation, and make no mistake, Youngkin has removed Trump from the equation, suddenly people look at Republicans and Democrats and go, man, I'm comfortable voting for this Republican guy. They can say he's Trump, but he's not Trump.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. You see it in some of the polling, actually, but you also hear it anecdotally. They go, yeah, I know that Terry McAuliffe wants me to think he's the second coming of Donald Trump, but I'm listening to him and I'm watching him and I'm looking at his record. And I know during the primary campaign, Glenn Young held Donald Trump extra close to get that nomination, but he's, as you say, distanced himself a little bit, and Republicans are perhaps not buying that argument, and independents may not be buying it either. So, Steve, what are they voting on? That's the question. Glenn Youngkin has made education down the stretch here the focus of this race. Parents, obviously, many of them frustrated with the way schools have been handled for the last year or so. They've been frustrated with race-based education curriculum. Is education going to be what a lot of people vote on down there?
Yeah, it's interesting. You've seen that issue really rise to the top when you ask folks in these polls in Virginia what the most important issue is. You see last night that final rally that Glenn Youngkin held. He held it where? He held it in Loudoun County, and he called that the Parents Matter rally. I believe that was the theme of it. This is the theory of the case for the Youngkin campaign, and I think one that Republicans nationally are paying close attention to. The question for them the last 5 years, again, has been in a place like Loudoun County, has been even in a place next door like Fairfax County. I'll show you the trajectory on Fairfax County. I mean, again, Biden 70, Trump 28. Let's roll back the clock to before Donald Trump came along. This is still a core Democratic county, but there's a big difference if you're a Republican trying to win Virginia in losing Fairfax County by 20 versus losing it by 40. Mitt Romney was in the game in Virginia in 2012. He didn't win, but he came close to winning. He lost by 4 points. He could have won Virginia in 2012. Donald Trump got blown out in 2020, and losing a place like Fairfax by 40 instead of 20 makes a huge difference there. So Republicans believe that this issue of education, they believe Terry McAuliffe gave him a big gift in the middle of this campaign when he made that comment in the debate about parents and school boards. They believe that issue, education, gives them a way to roll back the clock politically to before Trump came along. In a place like Loudoun County especially, we'll see Fairfax County.
So it's really complex because it's not just that simple about a simple school board issue. It was way more complex than that. If you've been paying attention to the Jabby Wabby debate, there are parents throughout the nation who have been taking the Jabby Wabby debate and discussion extremely seriously. So there are parents who have flooded PTA meetings and school board meetings, so much so that Merrick Garland, the AG, the Attorney General, the same position that that Eric Holder once held, but Merrick Garland now had issued a letter to the FBI saying that parents, and the thing about it that the Democrats are catching flack because once again it was the complexion. It's the complexion for the complexion for the situation. How they say the complexion for the persuasion for the situation. But the parents in question were white parents. So these are white parents challenging school boards nationally on the masks, on the mask mandate, and specifically what took place in Virginia was a bathroom debate. The parents were upset about gender fluid universal bathrooms in Virginia. And what took place, unfortunately, in a bathroom in Virginia is somebody allegedly may have gotten hurt. And then somebody, the complexion for the situation, something like that, man, it didn't come out quite right. But what took place was there was a situation in the bathrooms. So you remember a couple years ago, they had this whole big debate. And when you go to Starbucks, but not all restaurants, some restaurants have the gender fluid bathrooms, the unisex bathrooms. So I didn't know that they implemented them in schools. That's why this show is so important, because we talk about father power. Because you might want to take your son or daughter to school one day and say, hey, baby, where the bathroom at? Let daddy walk you to the bathroom, and find out if they actually have a girls and boys bathroom in your school. It's getting spooky out here. So I don't know if the parents knew that they made this transition, because they're making these transitions without a vote and without asking us as citizens. And this is supposed to be America. We're supposed to be included in these type of decisions. So I'm not sure if the Virginia parents knew about it. And this was a cover up. So they had a gender fluid bathroom. So the alleged story is a young white male put on a dress and went into a gender fluid bathroom and allegedly assaulted a young girl. They covered it up allegedly and let that young boy go to a different high school in that district. That young boy did the same thing again. They sent the little girl back to school, and then that young boy went to a brand new school. He put on a dress again and went into this gender fluid bathroom and then allegedly assaulted a second girl. 2 girls. So the parents lost their mind. If you don't know what's going on in Virginia and why Virginia has been on the news, I myself have been trying to dig deep into what is going on in Virginia, and what is this Let's Go Brandon. I keep seeing the hashtag Let's Go Brandon, Let's Go Brandon, Virginia. Virginia is a bellwether. Even in this story is not about Trump and Biden. This story is not about the Trump and the Biden election. But for 8 minutes out of the 10 minutes, John and the Magic Map have focused on Biden exit polls. That's why I started with Lexit. Lexit is the Latino exit of the Democratic Party. The Lexit community has been very influential here in Virginia. So now you have this becoming a national issue. It's becoming an LCC issue, because you have this on the same week as Dave Chappelle is getting canceled. And what they told us is like there would be no downstream effects from changing these bathrooms. They said we showed a story yesterday where it was about men behaving badly, where the proponents of the book said there is no difference between the male mind and the female mind. And this is the slut walk. This is what promotes the slut walk. And they told us if we have gender fluid bathrooms, nobody would get hurt. Nothing bad would happen. Well, the parents are upset, and the parents are not falling down on either side on whether or not they agree or disagree with the LCC community. They are upset that they were not told about the gender fluid bathrooms and that they didn't have a right to vote on it. And what ended up happening is this Democratic governor made a derogatory statement about these parents as if they had some type of phobia, and it blew up and became a shitstorm nationally. And now Biden is trying to back the Democratic governor, and it's becoming a test on who will win the next election. And they're trying to force the Democrats to win in Virginia. This is why I put it on the hashtag. This is not a joke. We're watching Virginia to see what will happen going forward. We're watching Virginia because Virginia has now let us know what Lexic is, and now the Latinos are no longer hiding behind their race and nationality. Lexic is Latinos coming out face front and saying we are no longer submissive to the Democratic Party. They are not being willed by the Democratic Party, unlike black men who were coerced into voting for Biden. Y'all remember what happened to Charlamagne the God, right? Y'all remember what happened to Charlamagne the God, right? Biden told Charlamagne that if you don't vote for me, then you're not black. Well, Latinos have said we're exiting the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party has become an oligarchy, has become extremely rich, and has become extremely elitist, and they are no longer a party of the people. Latinos are more conservative. Asian Americans are more conservative. They are Catholic. They go to church. They pay their taxes. They want police because they pay taxes for it. They want to be able to practice their religion, have their religious exemptions, and be able to raise their daughters as by that religion. Conservative. Lexit. So now it's becoming a thing where we're giving everybody Latino across the country. This same talk happened in the 2020 election where black men for the first time began to talk about how black people were the first black people in the Republican Party. Republican Party was started by black people, how black people was Republicans before we were Democrats. How the Democratic Party is no longer a party of the people, but we were pressured into voting for Biden. Let's Go Brandon hashtag is a colloquialism for white people to say a derogatory term against the current president. I had to research that for 2 weeks to figure out what does Let's Go Brandon mean. But today, a Delta airline pilot got put on leave for saying Let's Go Brandon over the speaker. This is how bad Biden is doing. Another thing that this is like a peripheral of Election Day 2020 that kind of bothered me. Do anybody know about the Paris Climate Agreement? Is anyone familiar with the Paris Climate Agreement? Is anyone familiar with TPP? Is anyone familiar with any of these agreements that Bill Clinton entered into that caused the current downfall of America and why there are no jobs, no manufacturing in America, and why American companies can't compete and why everything is built in China? Why did Trump take us out of the Paris Climate Agreement and TPP? Because China is not going to abide by the rules. So then it cripples American companies, and Trump wanted American companies to be able to compete. If China is not going to adhere to the climate agreements of Paris, then all it does is make American companies subservient to China and not be able to produce products as fast and as cheap as China. I'm not condoning pollution. But I think people need to understand what took place while Trump was president, because they distracted everybody. They distracted everybody when Trump was president. They wanted you to worry about if he was racist and if he had sex with a prostitute, a professional sex worker who sells sex legally. If he bought sex from her legally, that's not an issue. But people should have understood this Paris Climate Agreement and how he set us up to be in competition with China so that your children, my children, black children could have jobs by bringing manufacturing back to America, by bringing understanding. Do y'all remember the silent generation had an understanding of these things? They voted with manufacturing. They understood the trade agreements. They understood these climate agreements, these global agreements, and they only would agree to them if it benefited Americans. Going into the Paris Climate Accord, and now Biden, because of his low approval numbers, he wants to spearhead it. You know what he did today? Biden apologized. Biden apologized. Biden apologized for Trump backing out of the Paris Climate Agreement, Paris Climate Accord. But Brazil, Argentina, some of our major competitors, these will be the next China. They will leapfrog us in size and GDP, if not already. If not already. Brazil and Argentina, these places who want to compete on a global scale are not even showing up. They're not even showing up. They're not saying that we won't do it, that we won't do the climate agreement, that we won't do the emissions, the new carbon footprint credit card that we talked about yesterday. They're not even showing up to the meeting. Biden is capitulating before he even gets here. This is America. This is America. Biden is capitulating before he even gets to the meeting. Selling your kids' future away. And I'm not for a bunch of pollution. I'm not saying we should pollute the world. I'm saying that we need jobs, manufacturing. We need to be competitive on the global scale. Argentina understands that. Brazil understands that. China understands that. Why does America in the bike? Because you're not involved, Father. You're not involved, men. That's what we're talking about here today.
Prince William County, this area right outside of Washington, D.C. here. And again, I believe also Chesterfield County, for instance, outside Richmond.
All right, Steve Kornacki, thank you very much. We really appreciate you starting the day with us. I know you're going to be in front of that board for quite a while.
So that's the election 2021 issue. I got a little heated, hyped about that. I did a lot of research on that. I mean, it's been very interesting to follow that race. You know, it's a bellwether. It's a telltale of the signs of what we can expect going forward in the next election in 2022 and 2024. So the way this plays out, we will be watching that to see how well the Democrats do and see how well the Republicans do, to see what happens with this bathroom issue in Virginia. You notice how they left that out. They did not give you the details of the bathroom issue in Virginia and how passionate the parents are. There was an email found by a whistleblower. The parents went to a school board. They asked the president of the school board, was there any assaults in any bathrooms of the school board? And you know what the school board president said? These was white people talking to another white person, and the white person lied. And the white person said to another white lady, do we have any assaults? And he said, no, I don't think we do. And right now he has to get fired and step down because a whistleblower put out an email that detailed the fact that he told everybody, do not say anything about these two assaults by this same boy falsely wearing a dress, entering in these bathrooms under false pretenses. So right now he should be up for criminal charges. But if you listen to this, you know what's funny about this, you guys, as we talk about Soulja Boy, R. Kelly, and all these people, this young man is not up for charges. The president who lied about what this young man did is not up for charges. 2 girls have been assaulted sexually. Nobody has been charged. Nobody has been charged. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Nobody has been charged in Virginia. And I want to know if they're going to change back those bathrooms. And I want fathers, go to school. Fathers, go to school with your kids tomorrow and find out. Don't even ask the teacher. Just walk your son or daughter to the bathroom. I'm not saying go in the bathroom with them. I'm just saying have them. Matter of fact, ask the teacher, hey, teacher, I need to use the bathroom. Walk your son or daughter to class and then do some old 007 and say, excuse me, teacher, excuse me, janitor, where's the bathroom? I need to use the bathroom. I'm on my way to work. I got a meeting real quick. Find out if they have clearly defined bathrooms in your school so you know how to be a father appropriately. So when something like this goes down, you may need to be involved in the PTA. You may need to go to the school board. You may need to find out and ask, hey, when did you guys change the bathrooms? Hey, you didn't send a letter home to the parents. Hey, did you know this happened in Virginia? I don't want my daughter in the bathroom with the boy. I don't want my daughter in the bathroom with the boy. Well, how would you know? I love you guys, man. I really do. That's why we do this, man. Father power ain't no joke. Son Claude, good brother. Election day 2021, Virginia gubernatorial race. What you got on it,
peace, man.
Peace, God, peace.
Puppets, man.
What?
In your research, puppets. Puppets and Muppets, man. Puppets. They had puppets in the ads. They had an ad. I think McCullough's campaign had an ad to try to get out the vote. And they had puppets. You have an electoral campaign that has puppets in an ad to get out the vote. Puppets, perfect puppets.
I'm trying to find it right now. I can't find it right now. Puppets, everybody.
Okay. What I think the thing was, we all care about our neighborhood, our neighborhood, our neighborhood. We all care about all about our neighborhood, except so and so who doesn't vote.
Oh wow, that's not good.
So I think the song is probably called "We All Care About Our Neighborhood." Virginia 2021 campaign.
It's not coming up on YouTube. I'm gonna try.
Well, that's one of the ads that they would show me when I was on my mobile phone watching YouTube videos.
Oh, in between.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's posted on there, but I know that's one of the ads that was targeting me. Another one was C19 on both sides, the Youngkin campaign and the McCullough campaign. The McCullough campaign had a surgeon saying that he was for mandating that all doctors have to take a vaccine. And shoot, I just forgot the guy's name on the other side. And I just finished saying his name. Youngkin. Youngkin was saying, we're going to allow choice. If the doctors want to take it, they can take it. If they don't have to.
Have you recently been?
So they giving allowances for the doctors not to take the vaccine. Where in the jabby vaccine?
Yeah, that's what Youngkin is running on choice, giving the doctors choice.
I like it. I got some ads.
And then on the opposite side is basically saying, no, you're not going to have a choice. We're going to make your life uncomfortable. All those things that you see them doing up in New York, McCullough is going to do in Virginia if he wins.
Right. That's like Gavin Newsom when he won.
Mm-hmm.
That was a vote to shut it down. That was a vote to keep it locked down. And I like him, but I knew that was a vote to keep it.
And perfect. That on the bathroom front, I'm not even sure that they're going to let the parents in the building.
So did you hear what I said about the AG, Merrick Garland?
No.
So the AG, Merrick Garland, has wrote a letter to the FBI, and this is what actually blew up the race even more. The AG Merrick Garland, who's a Democratic AG appointed by Biden, wrote a letter to the FBI telling the FBI that the parents are domestic terrorists. He's actually was on Capitol Hill testifying in front of the Congress just yesterday about this issue, getting ridiculed. You can find that video, but I didn't bring that video up. That's kind of a sideline to this whole issue. So the Attorney General, the position that Eric Holder used to have, Merrick Garland wrote a letter to the FBI saying, treat these parents like domestic terrorists for the way that they're acting, and basically arrest them on federal crimes for the way they've been acting in school board meetings, because they don't want their kids wearing masks. They don't want their kids submitting to the jabby wabby. And now you got the bathroom issue. So this has been really, it's been really a hot button.
Actually, perfect. It does something else. Now, the FBI can go to social media and say, hey, these people are part of a terrorist organization.
Right. So that's why I brought up Lexit. So these people have been getting messed with by the FBI, Latinos exiting.
So they can be deplatformed.
Right. So it's some big shit going on in Virginia right now. It's not even the midterms. But Biden's numbers are so bad that this race is becoming a bellwether. Typically, it's not even the midterms. You still got like a whole nother year before the midterms. The midterms are not till 2022, where they could potentially take back the House. We're not even there yet.
This is just for delegates, state governors, state representatives.
And already he's only 9 months into his presidency, and it's already about to look like it's over. It's already
perfect. It's super radical. That standpoint that McCullough has, that he came out with this year, that's really radical for Virginia. I mean, apart from some of the major cities out there on the coast or in Northern Virginia or in Richmond, it's not urban like that.
It's rural.
Yeah. Yeah, the state has been leaning more blue. It was one of those purple states, and I think now it's more blue. It's more towards the blue. But I mean, in the area that I work in, people never took down their Trump posters. Never took them down. All they did, at most, what they did was they just painted over the Pence, Michael Pence's name on the signage. But they left the signage up.
Same.
And some of them have Trump 2024 flags flying in the yards.
Same. They never change.
And here's one more thing that kind of bothers me. Perfect.
What bothers you, man?
And it is that black people ain't church going.
Right.
That black people ain't God fearing. Even though the conductor of the choir might be something that rhymes with choir.
Hello.
The black.
You borged out. Come on back. Breaker 19. Breaker 19. Coming in fine. Sunclaw hit a hot spot real quick. He be back. Everybody don't even trip. Coming with that good fire content. After this topic, let's see what else we're gonna go to that young brother, man. This is sad. I ain't gonna say oh man, it is sad. It is sad, man. I'm not a Raiders fan, you know, I'm from San Francisco, but I'm not a fan of NFL anymore. Make sure y'all vote in the chat, man. My name is Perfect Timing. You guys are watching the Perfect Timing Podcast Network. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast show. I'm also live on my backup channel, the Perfect Timing Podcast Live, 2 YouTube channels, so you can find me. Make sure you follow on both so that we have that double redundancy. I'm also live on Facebook right now at Patrick Potter. You can find all these channels in my description. I'm also on Instagram at Big D Whitaker when I'm sticking her, putting dick in her. And don't forget to check me out on Twitter also. And Twitter is the Perfect Timing Podcast. I believe it is, but all that you can find in the description. Follow us, support, and donate. This is the World Is Yours podcast, supported by the listener, funded by the listener, supported by the listener, funded by the listener, produced by the listener, all for the listener. So how it works is you donate your money, and we talk about topics that you want to talk about. If you want to get on the panel, you want to debate, Perfect Timing, you want to go one-on-one, you sit in the donate, or if you want to do a show specifically designed that you like Perfect to do a specific topic on and dedicate and do the research, go and hit that Cash App. You are empowered. You have the power. You design, you critique, and you lay out the show. The world is yours. Oh, Sun Club back in the building.
Yeah, so I was saying it's kind of like something is being misconstrued. The Black community in this country may be politically liberal, but not socially liberal. That's what I wanted to say. So you might vote Democrat, but when it comes to social issues, your social issues might not necessarily be on that side. But here's the other thing. With the Latinos, they are not socially liberal. 100% not socially liberal. So all of this Lucky Charms community talk that the Democratic Party is doing, that's alienating them. And for people who don't know, the majority of Hispanics are Catholic. Either Catholic or evangelical. There's almost no... for you to find a group that doesn't really identify themselves one way or another, you'd be hard pressed, man. They're God-fearing people. Are you still there, Perf?
So I'm sorry, Son Claw. In my intro, I talked about how these minority communities are different in culture back home. And when they came here, so I talked about Brexit, I talked about Blexit, and I talked about Lexit. How do we get the Lexit? Brexit is Britain exiting the EU. Blexit is Black women exiting the Black community, dating out. And Lexit is Latinos exiting out of the Democratic Party. So in the beginning,
because you're going too much to the extreme.
Correct.
Latinos are really, really strong when it comes to gender roles.
What I said was when they came here, when the Democratic Party was created by Black people after slavery Reconstruction, this is when we had the most money. This is when we had all those Tulsas. This is when we had the most congressmen, the most senators. What did they see when they were building the railroads? When these people came to America and they saw the indigenous, melanated people who lived here going to church, going to work every day, voting, they saw what they aspired to be. They saw them acquiring an American dream. And what I've argued is that they mimic us, is they mimic our principles of going to church, working hard, and our conservative principles because we were the example. And then what happened was a race to the bonnet or a race to the bottom where that standard was eroded and a new standard was put in place, and then the new minority was superimposed over us. And that new minority was the Latino, was the Asian. But what's so funny about it when I have this conversation for people who don't believe me, only thing you got to do is what churches do they go to? They go to American churches. Asians don't come here and practice some type of Asian religion. Same thing with Latinos. They go to Baptist and Catholic churches. They assimilate in the same ways and values that they saw when they first got here. The sad part is that Blacks lost that. Blacks were the true conservative minority. even if you want to refer to us as a minority. But blacks were the true conservatives initially when it comes to people who are non-white. Far as being political, far as being God-fearing, as far as voting, going to church, paying your taxes, building community, that was us. That was Tulsa. You don't have an Asian, a Latino Tulsa until much later. Much later, they mimicked us. Now, only now, and in 2020, we finally start talking about how blacks were originally Republican. And that's when you got to get your booty to the poll. To keep us in the Democratic Party. Charlemagne the God being told that you're not black if you don't vote Democrat. Even though Democrats have become extremely elitist and rich and no longer the party for the people. So this is a father power issue. You know, I'm not telling people where to come down on what party to pick. I just want people to be educated on what we were. My Latino brothers, my Asian brothers, my melanated people of color that are indigenous to this planet. Indigenous to this land. We were always conservative. I talked about a beautiful, thick Latino lady that I love on CNN. And she said Latinos are traditionally Republican because they adhere to the 3 pillars of the Republican Party. Latinos are traditionally conservative. So when you have Lexit, I said, is Lexit a misnomer? Because I think that we've always had the Latinos on a trend of voting Republican because they've always been conservative. If you look back,
perfect. There's been a rumor going around since the Obama presidency.
Right.
When Obama gets in, there's going to be amnesty. They did the same thing with Biden. Yeah, when Biden wins, there's going to be amnesty. Now, perfect. Do you remember what amnesty was?
I don't. I know you're supposed to be able to be a citizen, but what's the criteria? Like, is it automatic or is it the people who's here already? How does that work?
Yeah, the people who were here already had to prove that they were here when the law got passed.
That's the dream.
Then they could go on ahead. They can go ahead and file for citizenship.
That's the dreamers, right?
Guess who was president when the amnesty thing happened, perfect?
That was Bush. Bush actually created the dreamers, right?
Reagan.
Get out of here.
Ronald Reagan. The amnesty happened in the late 1980s.
Oh, but they want to do it again. I remember they did it once and they was going to do it again, right?
Yes, but now the rumor has been since Obama's first term. The rumor was the Democrats are going to do amnesty. Yeah, because they're so quote unquote pro-Hispanic now, right? So what would be the best thing to do if they were pro-dreamer? Is to make those dreamers citizens, right? What happened?
What did happen to the Dream Act?
They're still dreamers. They haven't been turned into legalized citizens.
Thank you.
They might not have been deported,
but they
haven't been made citizens either.
Let's go, Brandon. He's creating Lexit. By his own policy and his own lies.
But by that rumor going around about them talking about it on social media, I know people perfect who don't have who are undocumented here in the United States. Since I was a little kid, I've known it.
Me too. I grew up in San Francisco. It's not like that's part of, yeah. And some people refuse to get documented. Old people been here a long time. They make jokes about it.
So you're gonna.
They make jokes about it. Insulated in that community. In the Mission in San Francisco, you don't need to leave out of the community. Everything you need is there. You never have to leave. You're insulated. You don't never have to speak. Come out of your language or your face. You're insulated.
Yeah. So you're gonna tell me you're going to put a rumor out there that now all of my relatives are in a precarious situation. There's a chance for them to become citizens. They might not be able to vote, but I can't.
You borg that borged all the way out. Say that again. Come back one
So
time. Come back.
you put out the rumor, and then you put it out again when Hillary's running against Trump. Oh yeah, if Hillary gets in, she's gonna do amnesty. When Biden gets in, he's gonna do amnesty. Hey, you're forgetting the first.
It's a carrot. Oh shit, we lost Sunclaw. It's a carrot. I like Sunclaw said. Sunclaw's Afro-Latino, in case y'all didn't know. It's a carrot. Amnesty has been the carrot for the Latino community to stay Democrat. So as Sunclaw has described the carrot for the Latino community to stay Democrat, you know what was so disrespectful about 2020? That there was no tangibles offered to black men. I was going to ask what was the carrot offered to black men in 2020, but there was no carrot. But the one thing I could think of that was hyper disrespectful was that damn get the booty to the poll. That shit should fucking be etched in your brain as a black man to never fucking vote Democratic again. What carrot were you offered? Why this door closed? What carrot were you offered as a black man in 2020? Amnesty, not to say that they got amnesty, but they got a bill that they even the bill. Remember with Tim Scott and Cory Booker? After 18 months of all of the protests, Tim Scott and Cory Booker didn't even get the bill passed on the chokeholds. Cory Booker gave up. Cory Booker gave up. Sunclaw, I was just going in on, I said amnesty is a carrot, and I was just saying, what was the carrot for black men? What's the carrot for black people? Not to say that they got the amnesty, but there's a bill, and what is our carrot? That they try to just motivate us with bullshit like if you're not black, we ain't black. I'm not black. You're not black if you don't vote for Biden. You see that? My watch is black. You see my watch, Joe Biden? My watch is black. My hand is not black. That's the difference. So I'm not black. So don't tell me I'm not black if I don't vote for you. What is the carrot? What's the tangibles? What tangibles did we receive? We didn't. As soon as he got in office, the Asian hate crime bill. And you don't have one clear picture of an African-American male putting their hands on Asians. And I grew up in San Francisco Bay Area where they got triads and Asian gangs, and they sell all the weed, grow all the weed. Ain't nobody putting their hands on nobody Asian without repercussion. I don't know why that was allowed to be propagated. Like Asians.
I mean, those protests that happened. You know, all them cities that got burned down because of Asian hate, and people were against Asian hate, and they were protesting and marching and burning down. Oh.
You mean the ALM protests?
Yeah, the ALM protests. Oh, I'm sorry, we're off by a letter. Oh, the BLM protests.
Oh, my bad.
I thought those were ALM protests.
It's not the ALM. I thought it's the ALM protest. ALM, right? That's what it is.
So I thought that's why they got that law, was because it was ALM.
That's what we've been doing.
And they were burning down cities, and in order for to appease them, they got this legislation passed, but that wasn't it.
Because, you know, a 9-minute, somebody stood on somebody's Asian neck for 9 minutes on camera until he had no more life in his body. It's like we don't even want to talk about what really happened.
It was on camera. The worldwide protests?
On his neck. For 7 minutes, and they gave up on the legislation. They signed the Asian crime bill, but gave up on the legislation. Police can still do a chokehold. That motherfucker in New York kept his job for like 4-5 years, Sunclaw. He was on desk duty for 4-5 years. Police can still do a chokehold. And these motherfuckers are still saying that they were doing what they were trained. What did you get? What's your carrot? Why should you vote Democrat? What did you get? Why should you vote Democrat? Man, I look good today, man. Sometimes I don't pay attention to my hair, but other day I tripped. Hey, Young Thug, shout out to somebody tell Young Thug be saying he got the best bun. No, Young Thug, I think I got the best man bun right now. I got the best man bun going right now. Tell Young Thug he ain't fucking with my man bun right now. See them Shure headphones right there. That's a Shure headphone. That's a Rodecaster microphone. That's a Rodecaster Pro. This is my brother, son Claude. What's cracking, Perfect Timing Podcast? Yeah, man, I got another sad story, man, we're going to get into, man. I don't want to say sad, but it's sad. I don't even like using that language, but I'm a San Francisco cat. I'm from San Francisco. I grew up going to Candlestick Park. Rest in peace, Candlestick Park. They took it away from us. Well, actually, as a child, my dad used to take me to the 49ers used to play at Kezar Stadium in Golden Gate Park. And the Warriors used to also play at Kezar when the Warriors was a San Francisco team before they played in Oakland. They're actually moving back to San Francisco. The owner who owned the Oracle is I think the Warriors already play. I'm tripping. They already got the brand new arena. They already playing back in the city. I'm tripping. You could go there right now. Shit. So the Warriors don't even play in Oakland no more. The Warriors are back in San Francisco. We used to watch them in Kezar Stadium, and I grew up being rivals with the Oakland Raiders. I teased all my friends when the Oakland Raiders went to Las Vegas. But here's a story that we can read it together. I didn't really read it too much. Fair use, fair use. So a lot of people, y'all might have heard about this, but this is extremely unfortunate. Let's pray for this brother. Let's pray for those individuals involved in this incident. Let's keep a prayer for them right now. Father God, I'm going to say a prayer for Henry Ruggs. I want to say a prayer for the individuals involved in this accident, their mothers, fathers, and children. May a blessing be upon all of those, and that you relieve their stress and pain as they go through this incident. Father, we ask all these blessings in your name. Amen. So Las Vegas Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs III charged with DUI after crash that left one person dead. Oh, man, this is horrible, man. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So it says Las Vegas Raider wide receiver has been charged under the influence, resulting in a death after his car rear-ended another car and left one person dead, according to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. LVMD responded to the crash early Tuesday around 3:39 a.m. near an intersection where they found a Chevrolet Corvette and a Toyota RAV4 that was on fire. Firefighters responded and found a person dead inside the Toyota, police said. The preliminary investigation indicates that the front of the Chevy collided with the rear of the Toyota, said the Twitter thread. Ruggs, 22, was identified as a driver of the Chevy and remained on the scene where he was showing signs of impairment. Police said he was taken to University Medical Center of Southern Nevada with no life-threatening injuries. Man, Las Vegas Raiders, okay. The lawyer released a statement to CNN affiliate Tuesday on behalf of our client Ruggs. We are conducting our own investigation and writing to ask everyone to reserve judgment until the facts are gathered in the statement. The Raiders also released a statement saying that we are aware of the crash. We are devastated by the loss and the family of the Raiders drivers to pick. So I don't need to hear all that. I don't want to know the details. They must don't have much details right now. So that's what we got on that story. I thought earlier they were saying 2 people passed away. Now they're saying 1 person passed away. It's extremely unfortunate. Now that I read the details of the story, I'm wondering like what actually took place. Because I've been in a rear end accident, and it's not always cut and dry.
Rainbow between Tropicana and Flamingo. Metro says it happened around 3:30 this morning.
Now, police say 1 person inside the other car is dead. Detectives say Ruggs slammed into the back end of that other car. Ruggs right now is at UMC with non-life-threatening injuries. And we do have 13 Action News reporter Kelsey McFarland. You were at the scene early this morning. You're still there now. What have you learned about other car? Ruggs right now is at UMC with non-life.
Raiders star Henry Ruggs has been charged with DUI resulting in death
Fair
after
use.
this crash this morning. You're looking at video from that crash on Rainbow between Tropicana and Flamingo. Metro says it happened around 3.
So that's
Hey,
the
perfect. It's
Toyota.
getting loopy.
Oh, I gotta pause. I gotta mute myself. Damn it, y'all see before I mute, y'all see the RAV4 right there on fire, and you see the Corvette right there behind it.
8:30 this morning.
Now, police say one person inside the other car is dead. Detectives say Ruggs slammed into the back end of that other car. Ruggs right now is at UMC with non-life-threatening injuries. And we do have 13 Action News reporter Kelsey McFarland. You were at the scene early this morning. You're still there now. What have you learned so far?
Kalina, Dave, this all happened right around 3:30, as you said. So investigators have been here for nearly 8 hours. I want to show you what the scene looks like. You can see as we zoom in here, 2 vehicles still in those northbound lanes of Rainbow. And this is a look at the Chevrolet that Ruggs was apparently driving. You can see that both vehicles appear to have caught fire. Investigators have now been on scene for hours mapping out how that crash may have happened. I've also seen crime scene analysts taking away what appears to be bags of evidence from one of the vehicles involved. Now, police are still diverting drivers away from this intersection. And we've seen many drivers and pedestrians try to cross through that crime scene tape. You will be stopped by police if you try doing so, and it's best to just avoid this area altogether if you can. Now, back out here live, again, we are in the South Spring Valley and Rainbow intersection. It will likely remain closed for several more hours. We'll be sure to keep you updated on air and online at ktnv.com. Reporting live, I'm Kelsey McFarland, 13 Action.
So we don't. You notice they were very careful to not say DUI or not to say he was intoxicated. So we don't have details as of yet to whether or not. I noticed they were very okay. Okay, so now let's go to TMZ. TMZ is always salacious, everybody. Now TMZ got a different headline. Check this out, man. This is why I do this, what I do, man. This is why I was so passionate about a debate I was in last night on the YouTube channel about how the slippery slope and how we got to be vigilant. We used to say on days like this, we had a term, I'm not going to use it right now because that show is no longer on air on YouTube, because people don't know how to hit the Cash App. I don't think I even got a Cash App today, Sunclaw. And Sunclaw was saying we're gonna do shorter shows. We're gonna do shorter shows on these days. So I need a Cash App, everybody, or this gonna be the last story. We're gonna shut it down. So everybody out there watching, everybody, go ahead and hit the Cash App. And we're gonna talk about this young man. We got a Cash App. We'll keep it going to the other stories that I got. But y'all got a fire show today. It's almost been 2 hours anyway. I can go pick up my kids, man. Deal with y'all, man. Y'all won't. All right, I ain't even gonna talk shit. I'm gonna just do this story, and shut it down. So this is very unfortunate. I'm getting upset because we don't believe in black love. We don't believe in black love. We don't believe in black love at all. Black women don't love black men, and black men don't love black men. I've set out to create a platform to father black boys and black men, to elevate black men. I make songs, I make content, I make gestures, I extend my hand. And black men spit in your face. Black women spit in your face. And I thank God for Wacky. I missed this panel. Y'all go subscribe to Wacky World TV. I was cleaning up, I was doing some, and I feel good about. I have been busting my ass, and great things are happening in my life offline. So I miss Wacky's panel, but I'm upset that I miss Wacky's panel because I learned so much. And Wacky helped me out so much when he said, Perfect, I see you've been frustrated, but he said, these niggas are just stupid. And I'm not going to let these stupid niggas have my blood pressure. And I don't really talk like that. And sometimes when angry men talk like that or Wacky talk like that, I get turned off. Because I got this. This is why I'm a preacher. This is why I preach, because I got this belief and faith. That's why I created the Perfect Man Show, because I actually believe that black men could do it. I was extremely surprised when everybody started saying there ain't no such thing as a perfect man, and everybody took it as an affront. But I understood it after I kept going and I got the research because I understood the oppression and I knew how much it was needed. But man, Wacky helped me out a lot. My little brother G said something. He said, when you be reading Perfect, I can get your level of comprehension. I just want to share with you that these guys don't have that same level of comprehension. That hurt. It hurt so much I kind of put it out of my head. And then Wacky followed up with that these cats is stupid, bro. And then it caused you to have high blood pressure. Wacky been in here since 1.0, like 10, 15 years. Wacky said, I had to quit. He said, everybody know on this panel, I quit. I quit YouTube for like 2-3 years. He said, I just came back. He said, I was the president of the Manosphere when we made the initial list. He did a lot of stuff to help black men. And after all the work he did for free to help black men, got shit on. Somebody come in and say, you a pussy, you a punk, you a bitch, you a mama's boy. After all work, after everything, creating somewhere for you to have a voice, for you to get money, for you to elevate, for you to talk about sports, hip hop, boxing, whatever the fuck you want to talk about. And we come in here as black men and we act like children. Oh, I'm over here. Or I'm with this. Or I don't do that. Or I believe this. Or I say that. It's cool. I respect you for your beliefs. You can have your beliefs, but y'all don't see we losing. It's so surprising to me. It's like all the statistics and numbers that old nigga put up, out of all this homeless people, that somehow niggas still don't see we losing. Like, you can still get online and act like you all that. It's perplexing to me. 80% illiteracy rate, 80% divorce rate, but we talk like we all married. We talk like we all faithful. We talk like we all got a job. It's so much cap out here. Why the fuck are we here? You get on the panel, every black man on YouTube is rich. Every black man on YouTube is rich. Every black man on YouTube get pussy, get bitch. Hey, I got it, Rogish. That's what it is, Rogish. That's the answer, Rogish. That's the answer. Why get out of the bucket? That's the answer to the crab in the bucket syndrome. Why get out of the bucket if everybody in the bucket rich? We bucket rich. That's the race to the bottom. We bucket rich. Oh, shit. Crab ass niggas. Crab ass niggas, you bucket rich. Free crab tomorrow. So stay in the bucket. Stay in the bucket till they put your ass in the hot boiling water and you hear that whistling sound. That music, that's your death march. That's your death not chant. What is that? What do they call it? Death serenade. That whistle when they drop your ass in the water. Stay in the bucket. In the bucket, you're bucket rich. Like you couldn't first thing I knew when I came in, I'm like, you can't dox me. I'm in debt. I got child support, non-wife that's not black. Everything that people that got doxed in this community, I said from day one. And I'm handsome, I'm intelligent, and I'm well-spoken, and I'm talented. Can't dox me. I'm not a bitch. But it's funny how every black content creator in your apartment, in your shitty ass apartment, with your shitty ass internet and your shitty ass cricket phone, everybody rich. Everybody got bitches. Everybody got a job. Really? Really? That's why they couldn't see it, Rogish. That was the blind spot, Rogish. That's why we couldn't see it. She said, "We back. Did y'all lose y'all for a minute?" I hear.
You might be talking about a ham sandwich.
But yeah, man, this story, man. So I'm gonna read this story.
You know what? Do you remember you did a show a few months ago about a football player who had crashed his car and walked to his quote unquote ex-wife's house?
Richard Sherman. But in the beginning, when
is there a follow-up on that, man? Kind of like he disappeared off the face of the earth.
No, he playing football. It all went away. He got picked up by a team. He playing football. It all went away. Because it was bullshit. It was all a lie. The first story was magical. How anybody got off the freeway if he was so drunk, it was magical. And then we didn't know that it was a wife. Remember, they first said it was a stranger. Then me and you said, how the fuck did he walk there if he didn't know where it was? How did he get in? And then it comes to find out it's a wife. Then it comes to find out he owned the house. Then comes to find out he owned the house. He owned the car. And it was a father-in-law there trying to beat him up. So it all went away. It was all a lie made up by a disgruntled woman. He's playing. He got picked up.
Perfect. It was flipping earlier, but I'll have to go back and listen to the show.
Okay.
So I only got this father-in-law fight lie made by a woman. That's all I heard.
Okay, so yeah, Richard Sherman is back playing football. He got picked up, I saw last week, and all the story went away. Ain't no charges, nothing. He back in the game. They were saying he would never play football again. I saw an article last week that he got.
And they were talking about how he was drinking, and that's how he got into that accident, and this, that, and the other.
Far as I saw last week is that Richard Sherman got picked up again. He may be playing right now. Somebody in the chat qualified what I said. I saw an article about a week or two ago that Richard Sherman got picked up. Somebody in the chat let me know, what team is Richard Sherman playing for now? Sure did. Sure did. So everybody, thank you, Sunclaw, for bringing that up. So we said, so far we saw CNN says, and we saw a local report that said he got into a car accident. The local report actually has video of the actual accident, and the local report was clear to say that there were no charges filed and nothing about a DUI. We go to TMZ, fair use, and what's the headline? Raiders star booked after fatal car accident, facing 20 years in prison. But so people can clap and start picking sides. Do y'all understand the kung fu? How the media works, and it's always black men being the slaughter. We have to get this voice out like Black Guru was talking about, that so we can no longer be the lambs of the slaughter. Are you tired of being lambs of the slaughter? I'm tired of being fodder for the internet's clickbait and dopamine to get people excited about clicking and reading a story. They should not. This should be illegal. You can't. Dave Chappelle gets canceled for his joke. You shouldn't be able to do this. Has he been? Why is he facing 20 years? How can you put that up there? How is that not salacious? Police say the person who died in the car crash was 23-year-old woman. Cops added Ruggs' girlfriend, Kerry Washington, was a passenger in his Corvette, suffered serious injuries in the collision. Police also provided further detail on the accident, claiming Ruggs was traveling at a high rate of speed before he veered into the right lane of a 3-lane road and slammed into the back of the Toyota. Cops say the driver of the Toyota got trapped in her car seat and was not able to escape the vehicle before flames engulfed it. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police added Henry Ruggs have been booked into Clark County Jail in Vegas on 2 felony charges: DUI with serious bodily harm, reckless driving with death of seriously bodily harm. If convicted, the DUI carries prison sentence of up to 20 years. The reckless driving charge carries a 1 to 6 year term. Ruggs is due in court, first appearance tomorrow morning. The NFL just released a statement that Ruggs incident saying, "Our hearts go out to the family and franchise. We will continue to gather facts. We've just obtained images. Already seen these images. Oh, wow, you guys. Fair use.
Hopefully the ones in that car got out, no?
How did it happen?
I have no idea. They got into yeah.
Fair use. Yo, who got the best podcast? Who got the best podcast? Fair use, man. And rest in peace, man.
Hopefully the ones in that car got out.
Rest in peace, man.
I have no idea. They got
This is the aftermath of the car accident with Henry Ruggs on Perfect Timing Podcast. This is the first time you seeing it. Fair use. This.
I just want to make sure you guys copy that there might be someone still inside the vehicle.
Fair use.
That's on fire. I got your rescue added in the heavy also. Let me know if you need something else.
Engine 22 is on scene, establishing Rainbow Command. As reported, we do have one vehicle that's on fire, fully involved. Another vehicle that's also involved in the accident, it's not on fire. It was like we had 2 people sitting on the sidewalk. Break dispatch. Go ahead and start the second ambulance, please.
Yes, sir. We see that the call got changed to an Alpha. Are we still responding to this call? Yeah, it's affirmative. The Alpha unconscious. You guys still respond. Bridge 32, copy.
So it says investigators are still working to determine how the crash happened. So how is he charged with DUI? And they didn't say nothing about a breathalyzer. Investigators are still working to determine how exactly the car crash happened. I want to know too, why was the person stopped in the middle of the street? Was they looking at the car? Was they trying to film the car? Was they trying to get an autograph? Did they almost kill this boy and end up killing themselves? Why were they in the middle of the street? He was behind the wheel driving the Chevrolet Corvette when he crashed to the Toyota at 339. The Toyota caught on fire. First responders located the deceased person in the SUV. Ruggs was transported to the hospital for treatment. 9/11. Cops tell us that the star showed signs of impairment at the scene. What does that mean, y'all? He was hit. He was sitting on the ground. So they didn't do a breathalyzer. Oh, wow, this is going to get, and the 22-year-old will be charged with DUI resulting in the death. But why? If convicted on the charge but what was he intoxicated with, y'all? Tells us at least one person involved in the crash has died. His attorney tells him on behalf of our client, we are conducting our own investigation of this writing and ask everyone to reserve judgment until the facts are gathered. Right? The NFL are expected to be okay, and the condition of the other people involved in the crash still unclear. See, check this out. Check this out, y'all. No word on if cops believe alcohol or drugs played a factor in the accident. It's still unclear what Ruggs' condition is. There's a local report that says there was at least one fatality in the car crash. So how could he be charged with a DUI? And you can't tell me he looked impaired. He was on the ground. There was just a horrible car accident. It looked like the person to me was sitting in the road, maybe filming. Caused the accident. That person actually caused the accident. Prior to the crash, it appears Ruggs was at a local Top Golf location in Vegas. He posted a video from the facility just before midnight. No alcohol. On the table. Look at the table. No alcohol. No alcohol. 22. Superstar from Alabama, Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, winning the national championship in 2017. He spoke out in the past about his inspiration to play football, saying there was a childhood friend who encouraged him to try out. The friend tragically passed away at 17 years old, and the receiver has honored him with the salute after every touchdown. We've reached out to Ruggs camp, so why would he be this guy? Oh, this is definitely a story to watch, you guys. This is definitely a story to watch, you guys. This is definitely a story to watch, you guys. So he gets a DUI, he gets booked, DUI and gets booked, but no breathalyzer. And to right now, what is it? I got 4:45 California time, Pacific time, Standard Time, and there's no breathalyzer, no drug or anything like that. They're saying the police said he was impaired on the scene. He stayed on the scene. He was obviously, we saw him on the ground. That's not impaired. That's injured. That's not impaired. That's injured, officer. So based on that, you charged him. Why not just take him to the hospital and see if he's okay? Why? Because he gets in a car accident, does he automatically get charged? Do y'all remember the affluenza case of the white boy who killed four people and got off because of affluenza? After he stole that car. He wasn't even legal age of driving. He was drunk and he stole a car. He was drunk and he stole a car, killed four people, got off of affluenza. He didn't even kill this person. He rear-ended, which happens all the time. Unfortunately, two things happened. The car caught on fire. That's not his fault. And the seatbelt did not work. The car caught on fire because it looked like it was an old car, used car, probably would needed an oil change. It caught on fire for something wrong with the car. And unfortunately, the lady's seatbelt didn't work. So how could he be charged with murder? He's not going to get charged with murder. He's not going to, that's why it's a DUI. He's not going to do no time. But TMZ wants to get this story. He didn't kill anybody. He got into a bad car accident. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right. I just got back home, man.
Oh, you sounded nice and clear, too.
Yeah, thanks to this equipment.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try out a different microphone next time. Yeah, you pay money on some good microphones, a nice condenser microphone. And you end up using the cheap stuff.
Oh, man. Shit. That's why I got this Rode mic. After everything Kuda was talking about and all the research I did, this microphone is $100, man. And with this screen that I got on here, this is the Rode screen. So this make it sound like the Shure microphone. So after I bought the Rode mic, this is, you know.
Yeah, but perfect. Do you hear that in the background?
No.
It's the central heating running outside on the other side of this wall.
I can't hear it. It canceled that.
That's why I can't use my good microphone.
Because you can hear it.
Yeah. This is kind of like the same type of microphone that you would use on the stage if you were singing.
Dynamic.
Or at church. Yeah.
A dynamic. Yeah. I was using a dynamic microphone in the beginning.
I use that, and I have it attached to something called a cloud lifter.
To help it sound better?
To boost the signal.
Boost the signal. Oh, yeah. I remember when I was researching. So on a dynamic mic, you do need all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's something called a cloud lifter, but I ended up getting the knockoff of it.
Knock it off.
Yeah, it was cheaper, man.
What condenser mic do you got?
I have a bunch of them, man. I have to get them out, man. I ended up
you an audiophile.
The cage and everything. I have a DAC, an independent DAC, going into the back of the computer. Then I have an amp, a DAC amp for my headphones, and then I have a separate sound card type deal for the microphone outside of the computer.
Oh man, you got a nice setup over there. That's why I went with the Rodecaster Pro. Because as I did my research, and if you buy the different microphone, The guy was like, well, you got to buy these other things. And this is how professionals get the microphone to sound. You can get a cheap mic, and then you buy these other things to make the mic sound the way you want it to sound. Or you can go the way I did. And I grew up, my mama raised me, so I'm not no fix-it person. I could fix it, but I don't really like to. So I wanted that shit plug and play. And I found Rodecaster, and I already knew it was good. So I didn't know they made a microphone because everybody wanted to get the Rodecaster Pro, but it was like a bunch of money. So I was going to save up and get that. But then when I realized that they had a microphone, I was like, oh, okay. That made me want to buy the Rodecaster Pro even more.
And I think they even have a lower budget model. I think it's called the Rodecaster Podcaster.
They got a smaller one now?
Yeah, especially just for people who are making podcasts.
When did it come out?
I'm not sure. I remember hearing about it.
Maybe I looked at it. I don't know if I looked at it or not, but I ended up getting this one. I'm happy with it, man. It didn't really serve me well, man. I got this in the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was getting that money, and I'm like, I'm not gonna blow this money. I'm not gonna buy jewelry or all this shit I see people doing, but I know I want to spend this money. It's burning a hole in my pocket, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to invest in me. I wanted to get my show back. I lost my show, and my partner had all the equipment. And I'm like, I'm going to invest in some equipment and really.
There we go. It's the Rode Pod mic. That's the one that you have.
Yeah, that's what I got. It's $100.
That's their podcasting microphone.
Yeah. So what's great about this is
perfect. I almost forgot, man. Y'all remember the Pinto?
Yeah, I had a Pinto.
Do you remember what that it got recalled because it had a little issue?
I don't remember the issue. I had a Pinto and a Pinto wagon. I used to love Pintos, boy. On the floor. On the floor. I think I had one with the wood paneling. I had a Pinto on the floor.
And let us see.
Stick real low, sitting on the floor. Oh, the broad want me to come scoop her. Take her for a ride in my new Lex Luthor. But the bitch ain't got no
automotive engineering failures. The Ford Pinto fuel tanks.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and this is the article from 2011 from Popular Mechanics.
And what year RAV4 was that? Because 2020, them Toyotas had a lot of.
This is the Ford Pinto, perfect.
Right.
That RAV4 might have some kind of a defect, a design defect.
Toyota went through a lot. They had all those recalls. I see people driving. I get worried about that.
You said that the guy's car was a Corvette.
The new Corvette.
Now the RAV4 is a somewhat SUV, so it's a little bit further off the ground. Now here's what could have happened. Since that new Corvette is so low to the ground.
Right. Oh shit.
It went up underneath the RAV4 and hit that gas tank.
And they probably knew this could be a potential problem. But,
yeah, because you're counting on bumper to bumper collision, but this thing could go up underneath the other car and hit it.
But it's not the only car like this. You got all kind of Ferraris and McLarens.
And it could be an issue if you were in like a multi-car accident where you have a car in front of you and somebody rear ends you and your car can't go anywhere. So where's the other car going to go? The other car can go up underneath your car.
And then the seatbelt, that's not his fault.
No.
How can you attribute the death to him? That's
I carry a knife on me, perfect.
Oh, mine got that too.
I carry a knife on me. Chihuahuas are dangerous animals.
Yeah.
I have never in my life heard of anybody surviving an attack by a Chihuahua. I have to assume it's because people don't live to tell about it. I recommend people carry a small knife or have an emergency escape kit in their car. They sell these little tools that you can attach to your seatbelt.
You see that, Sunclaw?
Mm-hmm. The seatbelt cutter.
That's the seatbelt cutter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Smith & Wesson right here. And that's a flint. That's a flint. I like this. This knife is $50 to $75.
And you see that little point on the back of it on the heel of the knife?
That's to break the window.
Glass breaker. Yep.
That's to break the window.
Don't be in a car without some way to cut the seatbelt. Here's another one. Let's say you get into an accident that's so bad. It ain't your leg that's caught up. It might be your pant leg. Your pant leg might get caught up on one of the pedals of the car because the accident was so bad. The car catches on fire. You can't get yourself out because it ain't that your leg is pinned. It's that your pant. You can't get your pants off.
This is why bikers carry that blade on the side. It's not to scare you. A lot of people don't know that. That's why the motorcycles carry that knife. Because there's a chain on the bike. There's a chain on the bike. People forget. It's just like a bicycle. There's a chain on the bike. Yep. Motorcycles have a chain.
And your clothing can get caught up on it.
That's why it's so important that you carry that knife when you ride that motorcycle. And I've actually seen that. This is not conjecture what Sunclaw is saying. That's why they make the blades like this now, Sunclaw.
It's actually something similar to what EMTs will carry on themselves so that they can cut your seatbelt without cutting you.
Correct. And if you go to Big 5, the majority of the knives are like this now, where they come with the seatbelt cutter and the window breaker. And the last one I had actually said EMT on it. I got it off of Amazon. It was the same one that the EMTs carry. And I gave it to my brother. He works in hospital. That's what I thank you, Sunclaw, for going there. I say a prayer for that family. I say a prayer for that young lady, but it's too much of a jump at this point in time. Did you hear the part of the story where I read that there was no breathalyzer done and there was no proof that he had done any drugs or alcohol? And I even showed a photograph from Instagram where he was at Top
It's just
Golf.
a plain old ordinary accident. At most, they can get him because he rear-ended the other car.
That's it. They don't even have like
that would be like some points on his license.
That's it. They can't even say for certain how fast he was going. All they know now is he was blacking in a Corvette. So he must be drunk and he must have been speeding. But from what I see, it seems like the person in this day and age was doing some Instagram shit, doing some famous shit, trying to videotape him and was in the middle of the street. And they shouldn't have been in the middle of the street at a complete stop. And they caused the accident, unfortunately, and may have caused their death. I believe once we get the investigation, you'll find out that this is going to be related to social media. And this person seeing this famous person, wanting to get a filming, wanting to get a photograph, but being in the middle of the street when they shouldn't have been in the middle of the street. And it's extremely unfortunate. Did you hear about this boy? This boy won. He's Roll Tide, Alabama Roll Tide, probably a starch Christian, 22 years old, won the championship in 2017, inspired to play football because his friend got died at 17 years old. He does a salute to his friend every time he scores a touchdown. This is not the guy who's irresponsible. He was at Top Golf in the Instagram photo on the table, no alcohol. Top Golf is where you go hang out. We here was in the chat. Shout out She. Top Golf is where you go hang out, have drinks, party. In his Top Golf photograph, there was no alcohol.
And I was going to say something perfect. This is the NFL, NBA. Do you think that if one of their players got drunk and called their representative, because I'm sure they've got somebody who they can call 24 hours in a day.
His girlfriend was in the car. She could have drove, Sunclaw.
Not even her. I bet they have a somebody on speed dial in their contacts on their phone that if they call them and say, hey, I'm over here at the club and I had a few drinks, I need a ride home, they're going to get that ride home. In fact, I bet that they'll go to the extreme. Hey, and I parked my car over here. Can y'all bring it to my house? They'll have that motherfucker towed to his house and get him a ride home.
Preferably.
It's not going to cost them more than a call to a taxi cab company and maybe pay $200-300 to get his car towed to his house.
And the investment that they have in the boy at 22 and how many years he could play for the team is well worth it.
they're going to risk the team's reputation over a measly maybe $500-$600?
Never.
They give them that much as in petty cash when they play in away games for a day.
It doesn't make sense.
That boy was drunk. When was the last time you heard of a major league baseball, NFL, NBA player getting a DUI? Seriously.
When the last time you heard of a black person driving drunk and not getting tested with a breathalyzer, or the police trying to propagate a DUI case and not have evidence? If he's drunk or high, where is the proof? And when did it become okay to accuse and prosecute black men without proof? Bill Cosby, R. Kelly.
This America, man.
My bad. We hear the wolf is in the building.
What's going on, fellas? You're guilty until proven innocent.
Sad, bro. We don't have enough evidence.
This is America.
You're right. I'm being naive. What? We don't have enough evidence to book him or charge him. If you don't have a breathalyzer, why would you book my son? He's 22. I got a son that's 22 years old. If I'm his father, I'm losing my shit. She just said his son 21. I'm losing my shit. You booking my motherfucking son. My son is in cuffs. I'm losing my shit right now. My son's supposed to be in the motherfucking doctor room. He's a motherfucking NFL player with a fucking future in front of him. Why the fuck was I'm about to... my son should not be charged right now. If you don't know what the fuck happened, you need to be finding out what happened, why that car was in the middle of the street, why that girl's seatbelt wasn't working, and why her gas tank blew up. But my son didn't kill nobody, and you're not going to put that on my baby head.
Hey, somebody got to go. You know, when it comes down to it, they got a pointed finger. And what is he again? What did you say he was? He was what? He was what? He was black? Oh, that's all the evidence we need. Throw the book at him. Because you got to understand, what in society we looked at? Criminals, violent individuals. What does society portray us as? The villain in every movie. So he goes to court. What do you think they're going to believe? Yeah, he did it. Look at him. This young guy. Oh, we don't think he did it. Yeah, I don't think he meant to do it. He made a mistake. Just give him some time, let him think about it. But he made a mistake. Push that narrative. No matter how good he is, no matter the grades, everything. He's a good kid, yeah. But we all know kids make mistakes. Yeah. Oh. Man, I seen a trial the other day. There was a guy, he got locked up for DUI, and his lawyer was so good. He was like, don't you know, when officers are parked on the side of the road, the people, go ahead, son Clark.
Nah, I was thinking that thing was a RAV4, but that's a Prius. That's a hybrid. Those lithium batteries, man, they'll catch on fire if they get damaged. Y'all remember what happened with those Samsung phones that got recalled?
Yeah. Hell,
if they get damaged, they'll blow up.
Hey, SunCloud, not only that, look at all the Teslas that just blow up spontaneously. So you think if a Tesla that's battery operated, fully battery controlled, and they blamed it on a default battery, so Prius never had default batteries? You got to understand, once you hit those cars, just like you said, you hit that battery, all the coils and everything, that ignites a spark.
Mm-hmm. And that thing is underneath the car because the batteries are so heavy that you have to put them in the floor of that car as low as possible to reduce the risk of rollover.
I had a Toyota. I had a Toyota hybrid. It ran off of gas and battery. Save. Guess where my battery was at? In the back seat, behind the back seat. So if someone rear-ended me and my kids were back there, guess who's gonna get the flame first? It's right there in the back seat, right there. Soon as they hit the back of my trunk, the battery sits right there in the back between the back seat and the trunk. There's a small little panel that hump right in the back, you know. And this battery is huge. This battery is about the size of a one of those two cake sheet cakes, like the big ones that people use for like a team or something. It's pretty much a size that big, almost about the size of a range of a oven. Just the top part of the oven, that big, sitting back in there, and I would say is 4x2.
Bashid, you've worked on cars before.
Yeah.
Isn't that right on top of the gas tank? Because the gas tank is normally underneath the rear seats of cars, in front of the
Brothers,
rear
not to
axle.
interrupt y'all, but where are the skid marks? Because two things, brothers. They don't have drugs, they don't have alcohol, and they don't have the speed that the brother was going. To charge him with reckless driving, you got to be over a certain speed limit, or you need to prove that my son was
The way that
intoxicated or
car
high.
worked up, it would catch the asphalt on fire too.
In this photograph, do you guys see where he was going 80 miles per hour and slammed on the brakes? I don't see the skid marks, brothers. Do y'all see it?
Okay, what kind of car is that?
That's a Corvette and a Prius.
And what year?
That's the newest
2021 Corvette. And we don't.
The
That thing
2021.
will stop on a dime.
Yes, the
Oh
2021.
no. This is the thing that you might have not known. So with all these newer muscle cars, they put black boxes in them.
Yep.
My friend, he has an SRT. That SRT, well, not my friend, an associate of my friend. This guy was going 125 miles an hour. 125 miles an hour. On impact, when he hit the brake, it got to 91. They told him the precise speed he was before the brakes actually and the accident occurred. So if that was the case, they have a black box on that. They'll tell. I mean, that tells the story. So they can bring it to court all day. That black box is going to tell the real story. Only thing that they can defeat with that case is, the box wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't working because
And
all
it
the
goes
newer
to
cars got
another
that.
extreme too, Sheed. Your warranty on those muscle cars is void if you take it onto a racetrack. How do they know that your car was at a racetrack? You didn't tell them. Your car told them, because you have that inbuilt GPS in that car that you got as an option, and it's got that black box. How do you think that black box even knew the speed of that car? It ain't necessarily going off of the wheel speed sensors on that car. It's using that GPS information. So it's recording your location, the time of impact, everything. They'll know. They'll know that Prius is new enough so it'll have a black box too. But that boy, I don't think he's responsible for that fire.
Look at that. Y'all see that leading up? You see that? Look at how that camera
back
pans.
axle. Look at that back tire house pushed
I
forward.
see that. Now look at how it pans back. Look at how it pans back. Now it's going to pan back. Now look, where's the skid marks? Now watch. It's going to watch the camera move back. It looked like it jumped to medium. Now look, where is it?
I see him.
I don't see where he.
You can see him
here once the impact. But I'm saying if he was going 100 miles per hour, the skirt up to the accident. You know what I'm saying?
But there shouldn't been any skid marks anyway when the car was braking, not on asphalt. Now after the impact, yeah, there will be some skid marks, but it would be of the car that he ran into. With anti-lock brakes, you're not going to see skid marks like that. The tires are not designed to lock up anymore. Old school cars, the tires will lock up on you.
Look at this photo. I don't see the reckless driving. I don't see it. And they doing a lot of investigating very quickly. Look at this. I've never seen this level of calm. Have any of you seen this?
I think it's because there's a death involved in that accident that
It
they're
happens every
doing it
day.
down to that level.
Happens every
And
day.
that's not a regular police officer. That's a state trooper.
Death on the highway. Remember how we learn how to drive in school? Blood on the highway. This shit happen every day. I ain't never seen this. And he out here, he walking it down, trying to like chalk it out. There's some TV shit. They don't do this no more. We don't even got this many people in the forest.
Because he's going to calculate how heavy was that Prius? Where was that Prius when
Right.
it got hit? How heavy was the car that hit it? How far was that Prius pushed down the road? And they can calculate the speed, the mass, and everything to see more or less.
And they say they don't know that yet. And they say they don't know that yet. They don't have that yet. That's BS. They don't have that yet. No drugs, no alcohol. Look, Top Golf. People kick it at Top Golf. This is the brother at Top Golf. This is his table, You kick it at Top Golf. You go there to have drinks. He don't got no drink here. Who been to Top Golf? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Top Golf. You go, people had a birthday there. We party there. Top Golf is like a club. He don't got nothing at the table. Nothing. Where his drink? My drink would be right there. On camera, I'm having bottles, ice. Nigga.
And there should be a receipt of his bill to see what was on it.
Exactly.
And they have cameras, so they would have seen him if he was stumbling as he was leaving the establishment.
If he had one drink, we would know it. TMZ has already been to Top Golf. That's how I'm getting my promotion. Come on, y'all. They don't like us. I'm not playing around.
TMZ pays money. They pay money for this information that other people weren't willing to pay.
Come on. TMZ has already talked to this people at Top Golf. This is happening.
Perfect. Do you happen to know a nurse over there in that hospital that so-and-so is staying in? Look, you get me her phone number. That's $5,000.
Come on, man.
And I'll give her some money for giving me some inside information on what his medical condition is.
And they protect you legally. They will protect you legally, like Deep Throat. Like Deep Throat. So you ain't got to worry about prosecution. There are no drinks. Anybody, any female who's ever hung out at Top Golf who is seeing this picture is saying, what the fuck? He's on a date in the car. One of the things also they're leaving out, he's in the car with his girlfriend. The girlfriend got hurt too. So that's a potential witness. So he's on a date. There's a woman taking this picture. His girlfriend's taking this. Where's her drink? They're 22. And guess what else? He graduated from Alabama. Roll Tide. He ain't the type, bro. He 22, Roll Tide, champion. He ain't the type, bro. I don't like these pants. It look like he got some leggings on. The fuck is that?
The funny part is, even if he don't look like the type, you fit the description.
Oh man, the
Keep
complexion.
going back to that.
The complexion.
Yep. And see, you gotta understand who was driving that car and where they was at it. Where they was at? This was in Vegas.
I believe it was in Vegas. Yep. 22-year-old black man in a 2021 Corvette. Star football player for the Las Vegas Raiders. Star college football player, won the 2017 championship at Clemson, Alabama. Roll Tide.
And I'm still wondering something else too, because a lot of these modern cars, they have automatic braking too. If they see something coming up and you ain't applying the brakes, it'll start applying the brakes. I'm not sure if the Corvette has that kind of feature.
All right, y'all. I got another video. You know we keep the video. You know we keep the videos on deck. Let's see what else they talking about. I see somebody in the chat. Who was in the chat? That's Sun Call. Shout out to.
Yeah, and shout out to Jay Shine.
Yeah. Lane assist.
This one
Most auto cars have it.
In a fatal traffic accident early this morning in Las Vegas. Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, and Tom Pelissero with me now. Tom, you just tweeted a statement from Las Vegas police. Henry Ruggs is facing charges.
That's right, Andrew. Henry Ruggs III, the former first-round draft pick by the Las Vegas Raiders, will be charged with DUI resulting in death after an early Tuesday morning car crash left one dead. It occurred roughly after 3 a.m. this morning. There was no further information about the identity of the other person involved in the crash. It said the Ruggs remained on the scene. He showed signs of impairment, and he will be charged. No statement yet.
Man, that's some cold shit, man. You hear with that? He remained on scene. I showed a video of him hurt. He's on the floor. I'm going to go back to that video. He's on the floor, impaired. You just got into a deathly car injury. You hear the way the white boy said it? He shows signs of impaired. He will be charged. He was on the ground, injured. 22-year-old. My son was hurt. He was hurt. What you mean impaired? Fair use, man. This is protected under the Fair Use Act. Check it out, man.
Yet from the Raiders, we have reached out to them for comment.
Yes, and I'm told by someone with the connections in the Vegas area that Ruggs was in or at one of the golfing facilities, one of those indoor-outdoor golfing facilities last night, and he was drinking there. So we shall see what this. How this plays out.
Brothers, this is the story. You gotta go live. This is the story. We shouldn't be talking about nothing. This is why I've been doing this King Kong. This is why we've been driving home to King Kong. This is why I feel so good about being empowered and being brave enough to talk about these issues and warning brothers about this King Kong Kung Fu. I've cloned it, King Kong Kung Fu. And I've said to you, it will be rolled out every single time. I am very careful because I like this platform and I love this platform. I love what I do. So people, I'm careful. Sunclaw, she to warn me, allegedly, so I don't get in trouble, so I don't use my platform. I just showed you the Instagram post. No alcohol on the table. No DUI performed. No proof. No evidence. And what did this peanut head ass rat nose fink, what did he just say? He was at an indoor facility drinking last night. He said, I know somebody in Vegas. He just allowed to lie. Who do you know? Now the name, this is how Cosby got convicted. This shit is not legal. This is what happened, Sunclaw. This is what bothered me about the debate I had last night. This is conjecture. This shit is not allowed in court, and this shit like this is being entered into testimony. How the fuck do you just get to say he was drinking? I knew somebody. What the fuck? No. And you can't say that on TV. That's salacious. He should be getting sued right now. He should have said allegedly. Allegedly. Who, motherfucker, did you talk to?
Assassination of character. Now.
You're tainting the jury. Yep. Now the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the liberals, the Black Lives Matters, the social LCC community, they're gonna be ready to vote guilty. He's black, he's young, he's rich, he's not fair, he's heterosexual, and he was drinking. How do you know all of that? I saw it on TV. Guilty. Listen to the evidence. No, fuck that. Guilty. How are you?
I want to say something real quick. Sorry to cut you off, but this is the same thing that happened. Remember with Tory Lane? Tory Lane shot her in the foot, right? But when the story came out that her and the girl was arguing because Tory had hit her friend, like smashed her friend, and what was the story that came out? Do you remember that?
No, please let us know.
The girl shot Megan Thee Stallion, not Tory.
Wow.
That's why there's nothing else said about it. That's why he never got prosecuted on it or anything.
And he not snitching.
Yeah, he didn't snitch on the scene. They locked him up.
He not
charged.
Wow.
And what happened? He got out. And what was the whole thing?
So the realest nigga in the whole story is always the wow. Ain't life always like that? The realest nigga in the whole story is the nigga everybody been calling a bitch, a woman beater, taking him off of songs, taking him off of concerts. Jay-Z was talking shit about him. And the realest nigga in the situation. They tried to take his career, everything. He said I was broke. Called me a wife, a woman beater. And he was the realest nigga in the situation. He just stayed quiet.
Yep.
Oh,
The whole crazy part about that situation was he could have easily said, that girl, okay, you had Tori, his security guard, Megan, and her friend. So it was already known. It was 3 against 1. You know, it's his security guard. So all he had to do was even say, security, take my side. And it's between Meg and the girl to say who shot who. You know. But of course, they were arguing. He did grab the gun. They say he did grab the gun, but the other girl pulled the trigger. But because his hands were on the gun and the whole thing was, you know, centered around the other chick, and I think supposedly that was supposed to be his gun. You know, and what the police do when a domestic charge comes about? Somebody going to jail. Which one of y'all gonna take the charge?
I gotta give She the coffin nail.
Hey.
Man, thank you, bro. You should did that. You need to do that on your channel, man. I know that, man. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people know that. I don't know how many people know that. I never knew that. And
why Tory never got charged? He never got charged. Never went back to court. It's dying down now because the most people in the industry knew the truth. Even with Jay. Jay rode the wave when Megan rode the wave. What did she do? She did press conferences, abuse and all blah blah. She did all that. He just still remained his side.
It was the same kung fu. She used him like the trans community is using Dave Chappelle for agency. And it worked. Her career was stalling. After she broke up with Moneybagg Yo, she was throwing bricks.
Yeah. Not only that, look at her label. She had to get out of her label deal so she can sign with Jay.
And that was the Rockefeller. That was the Rock Nation. And that's when Jay started supporting the bullshit. If you recall, WAP did not do well the first 2 weeks. WAP started to shoot up after the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
She was partying with old girl, or was it the other way around? I can't remember when WAP came out, but this shooting, similar to the baby, helped her propel her career. Let's get back to the video, man. She dropping coffin nails out here, man. Let's get back to this peanut head rat.
From a legal perspective, doesn't even feel right to even talk about the football stuff at this point. That is the least of our concerns at this point, as this serious situation continues to unfold involving Henry Ruggs.
All right, so here it is.
Yeah, and
go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, put up the statement, and I'll just add this, Andrew. It also sounds, and Mike mentioned it properly. It doesn't really feel great to talk about football right now, and there's a statement right there with all the details from the Las Vegas PD. It also sounds like Henry Ruggs suffered a serious hip injury. Not that football matters right now, but certainly worth noting.
So, yes, again, the statement from the Las Vegas police, he, meaning Ruggs, was transported to UMC hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. And again, Ruggs will be charged with DUI resulting in death. This is an ongoing investigation. Police responding shortly before 4 a.m. to a collision. If you're familiar with Las Vegas, this is west of the 15 freeway, just a short drive, maybe a 10-minute drive.
Fair use. If you're reading that, there was nothing in there that talked about a crime. It was details, but I haven't seen nothing yet that says besides this lady, and they're not giving the details of the fact that the only reason that somebody died is that her seatbelt was faulty and something was faulty with that car. But they're attributing everything for clicks. This does not happen in any other community. Black heterosexual men are the only one crucified for agency in this way.
From the Raiders facility here between Flamingo and Tropicana. And responding officers located a Toyota on fire, and the Chevrolet collided. Initial investigation with the rear of the Toyota, and that Chevrolet was driven by 22-year-old Henry Ruggs III, Ian, of the Raiders.
Yeah, and Andrew, there's so much going on here, and obviously the focus should be on the health of the deceased victim, and obviously on Ruggs too, who is also in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We are a football show, so I do want to mention a little bit. It's been a lot for the Raiders this year. John Gruden is obviously out. They have Rich Bisaccia, an interim coach. They've dealt with a lot of controversy, a lot of things, and now one of their best players in the hospital and charged with DUI, resulting in death. At some point, we will talk about football, and they will have to get on the field, and I honestly don't know how they do it because there are so many larger issues. I talked to someone with the Raiders today who is essentially just struggling to process because this is so difficult for all of them.
Yeah, and
nothing good here. There's
nothing good here. And obviously condolences to the family of the deceased. We don't have any names here, but there is a family somewhere, one would think in Las Vegas, now dealing with the death of a loved one. Henry Ruggs, the Raiders wide receiver, being charged, and this is not speculation, but being charged, according to Las Vegas police, with DUI resulting in death. We will continue to follow this story. Please keep it here on NFL Network for more breaking news.
Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. It is not conjecture. He is charged. That is horrible. It is not conjecture. He is charged. And what we saw on TMZ is his actual 2 charges. They got reckless driving, but they haven't said how fast he was going. Anybody had a reckless driving charge? I had a reckless driving charge before. You got to be over a certain amount of miles over the speed limit. And then they charging him with DUI, but we don't have no breathalyzer or anything like that yet. You know what I'm saying? In 2021, we don't have anything like that, but they still charging him. And what people keep saying is he visibly looked impaired. As we talk about the defunding of the police and the police being laid off, like police keep kicking themselves in the foot, but police keep kicking themselves in the ass. Because why black men like myself are trying to defend police and try to educate people on why you need police in the inner city, they keep doing racist, ignorant bullshit. Jumping and charging too quickly. The only good way to look at this is that potentially this young man will get off because they charged him too quickly, because they moved too fast. This will allow his lawyers to be more agile. They should have waited, but because they jumped, he will potentially, and that's unfortunate. And again, Sunclaw, the initial report we read said it was an SUV in the RAV4, but you're right. In that report, it simply stated Toyota. So it did look like an old model, a late model Prius. And we
put in the back chat a link to Consumer Reports article. Toyota recalls Prius hybrids for fire risk.
What?
A worn-out wire harness could cause a short circuit. This article is from September 10th, 2018.
Recent.
192,000 of its 2016 to 2018 Prius hybrids sold in the United States because of a fire risk. And that's just a wiring harness.
I thought there was battery problems, but I didn't know about this part. I remember the guy on the freeway with the foot stuck. Remember that? He couldn't stop the car. I remember batteries. I remember fire, but I thought it was associated to the battery. And everybody...
Well, it might be a battery thing because, again, that Prius in that picture, if that is a 2016 to 2018 body style, the one that was in that accident is an older Prius.
It was, and the problems were with the late model Prius. Wow. And that is conveniently, if it's a football show and you care about the footballers, then why would you conveniently leave out some of the details that we give? Now, I heard somebody compliment the new media. It was Russell Brand. He said, you got to watch the YouTube guys presenting the media, because they're presenting the best form of the media, because the current media on TV is so biased, you're never going to get a straight shooter. And what we present here is uniquely done. The way we research stories from multiple different angles, from CNN to TMZ to the local news, you think a reporter who gets paid to do the fucking job would go to all the different places that I've gone to put together a complete story. But they leave out the faulty seatbelt.
But you know why?
Please.
They get paid to report whatever their boss tells them to do. See, this is the scenario. If I work for the news station, I only keep my job if I do what my boss tells me. If I go against the narrative and put out real, honest news that is backed by facts, you can't push a narrative to ill will and unthinking people. I can't tell you to go buy a Prius if I can't convince you by certain stories that a Prius is one of the safest cars ever, that gas-powered cars, they're horrible. You know, cutting on the ecosystem, go green. Everything is green. The Prius is the best car. That car has issues, but how can I promote to you that this car is the best? I gotta paint a narrative to you. And who's telling me to paint that narrative? The person's giving me my check.
And then also remember, who's an advertiser? Toyota's an advertiser with that station. So they're not going to initially blame that hybrid.
It's not the car. It's the person that's driving the other
You
car.
saw how that rear tire was pushed forward. Was forward of that rear tire. Normally it's the gas tank. The Pinto, the issue that it had was that the gas tank was behind the rear axle, between the bumper and the rear axle. Cars that were built after that with that knowledge put the gas tank in front of the rear axle to prevent a fire during a rear-end collision. Those hybrids, sometimes they're behind the axle, sometimes they're in front of the axle, sometimes they're built into the floor of the car. But those hybrid batteries, those lithium batteries, still present a fire risk.
Great point, She. Great point. Great point, She. I didn't think about the marketing aspect, but it always comes back to money. It's always about the money. You know what I'm saying? I get caught up on the social justice aspects of it, being a black man. I got a son, you're like, your son, 21. I got 3 20-year-olds. I got a lot of kids, y'all. I don't want to talk about it, but I got 20-year-olds too. So it's important to me. You know, this little boy, this boy been blessed, man. 22 years old, and his family, you know. And then the one thing they talk about that got left out of the other stories that they should have been talking about more is the hip injury. As I talk about my son, and I relate to him as a father at 22 years old, his hip injury may have ended his career. And y'all want to end his life. It's enough that somebody died. It's enough that he's in a car accident. I think Sheed and Sunclaw said earlier, we're not allowed to make mistakes. We're not allowed to be in accidents. It's some cold shit.
Guilty by association.
Guilty by
That's
association.
what I keep saying. You know, just because you're black, you're always. Remember the TV show ATL?
The one that
with
Donald Glover did?
Yeah, Donald Glover did. And they remember the character that they had in the second season, the black guy who said he was a white guy trapped in the black guy's body.
Oh my
And he was
God.
walking down the street. You didn't see that episode?
No,
You
I
gotta
didn't.
see it.
Wow.
You gotta see it.
Wow.
It was a big black guy with braids walking down the street. This is the guy who's trapped in the white guy's body. He says his credit score is good. He went to a prestigious college and everything. And his mom like, nah, that fool crazy. That fool, he this and that. You know, he's in high school. but I don't know why my parents think I have a Fortune 500. You know, doing all this talk. So the issue was him walking down the street and he seen the cops talking to a black guy. The first thing he said was he did it. And they was like, what? We're just having a conversation. And the officer looked at him like, whoa, what was that come from? Like, I'm just talking to a black guy. Yeah, he did it. He did it. Whatever happened, he did it.
That makes me think about our conversation, Sunclaw, about psychology and environmental, like how it just men behaving badly, like just all that's what the white man does to us.
That's the news. The news portray us in what type of image? Fathers, especially black fathers. We don't pay child support. You know, we beat on women, we deadbeats, all this stuff. When it comes down to it, we're the worst. That's why every woman, it seems like every
don't forget the other one, man.
purse.
Don't be putting that out there and not putting out how large our phalluses are.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget that one.
And how it's so long that we have to roll it up in a coil in order for it to fit inside the pants. Otherwise, it'll drag on the ground behind us.
Yeah, elephant trunk. Elephant trunk. You know.
You just can't get a gorilla arm like that. You got to wait a little while. You just can't get a gorilla arm.
Yeah. That's why the women can't. They don't like us, but they want us to pound them. Basically, pretty much for the most part. I don't like you, but I prefer sex from you. You know, don't touch me. I think you're gonna steal my purse, but I want to meet you in the bedroom. That's the only thing. You know, I want to meet you in the bedroom, but I don't want you to touch me. You know, I'm crazy, man. Crazy.
I'm just going back over the photo so everybody see that guy said Henry Ruggs was drinking at Top Golf. Here's the photo, anybody that's going to be doing this story later, or you're going to go get your hair cut, or if you're a Raiders fan and you're going to be, because it's always somebody that's like there's always somebody like that guy at the barbershop. He was drunk. Then why did he get in the accident then? Why did he get in the accident then? Why do we always got that guy in the black men? Why do black men always got that? I can't stand it, y'all. Why do we always got that guy, y'all? It's somebody in every barbershop right now. He had to be drunk. Something was wrong. Why did he get in the accident then? It's called an accident, sir. People get into accidents all the time. The girl unfortunately passed away because she was driving a late model Toyota Prius that has problems with the battery wiring, and her seatbelt was stuck, unfortunately. We're going to pray for her. But the accident didn't cause her death. The car caused her death.
But that's the thing. Somebody got to get blamed for it.
And this guy, with full confidence in the law on a platform, he said, without saying allegedly, that this young man was drunk. We don't have a breathalyzer. The investigation is an ongoing investigation. We don't have any proof in this photograph or any video, because TMZ, unless we see it later, because I know TMZ.
What proof does he need? He's an expert.
Exactly. I'm wanting to hear that. Don't. Here's video of Henry Ruggs drinking alcohol at Top Golf. Don't.
And that's another one. I'm surprised they don't have no video footage. Everybody and their mama has a ring on their front door. A lot of these businesses have cameras on the facing out.
As he was leaving,
in case they get robbed, so that they can get the plates of the car that the people are escaping in.
I guess, and this is another thing why this ain't gonna stick. His girlfriend's in the car. If he's drunk, then she's drunk. You could have breathalyzed the girl. Did you guys have drinks? Why didn't you not question her? If this is a murder investigation, right? It's a DUI for murder, right? Is she aiding and abetting? Woo! Did y'all watch the show yesterday? Is she an accomplice, Sunclaw? I don't know. Is she an accomplice, or could they say to her, if you do not tell us what exactly took place, we're going to charge you too? I mean, how does it work? She's in the passenger seat.
She can get charged with an accessory, but the thing of it is, she's not driving. So There's little they can do with her, but holding back information. That's the only thing they can probably charge her with, something with holding back information, uh, to a degree. But other than that, what more can they do with her?
So the only reason I bring that up, because I'm not bringing that up because I want baby girl to say something. I'm bringing that up because I know the way that things go. And if these many hours have passed by, they would have questioned baby girl. And so to have more evidence. So I would look for that. I would look for her statement. Let's pray for her, because they said her injuries were more serious. They said her injuries. Huh?
I seriously think that they didn't want to pin it, but it's drugs. Will it be drugs? And it's easy to do with that if it's drugs. And this is the number one thing when you're in an accident. Okay, he has sustained injuries. What is the first? Well, I don't let people do, but the first thing they do when you go into the hospital, whether you're with a police, they automatically give you a drug test, and you're getting checked already. So what are they doing? The first thing, but most all the people want to do is draw blood, see what's going on with you, want to prick you.
Piss, blood, and shit. Piss, blood, and shit.
Yeah.
You don't even get to leave the hospital until you piss, blood, and shit. You have to piss and shit, and I need a blood sample. Because how do we control how you came in and how you came out? If you have children, you should be checking their stool. If you have children, you should be looking at their stool. A lot of your pediatricians will say that. Well, he's not feeling good. Well, what does a stool look like? Huh? What do you mean? Go look at the last time your child took a bowel movement and tell me what color, what texture is it round, and the doctor can diagnose what's going on. As a parent, you should be looking at the stool. So he's right. Piss, blood, and shit when you come into the hospital. Just to get, because I don't know your baseline. Right?
And that guy who's an expert or a lawyer, he should have said a suspected DWI, which is different than a DUI.
DWB?
No, driving while intoxicated.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
They use that because weed is legal in certain states. So it's illegal for you to be driving under the influence of weed in some states.
So it could have been marijuana. Is that
exactly?
It could have been a smell of marijuana in the car. You can't prove that. You can't charge that though. That's he beats that.
Nah, but for that they have to do a test.
Correct.
Hair sample. Hair sample.
No, but then you come into this question. So what? I smoke weed every now and then. All my hair is gonna prove that I smoke weed every now and then. How are you gonna prove that I was high on weed when I was driving that car?
Correct. Correct. And that's why. Go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say, don't weed stay in your system at least 30 days.
30 days.
They can't classify, like you said, at that particular moment. But they can
I think
say
maybe there's a concentration in your blood, but you don't know how long that stuff stays in the system before it starts breaking down. So
yeah.
And the cop could always say, "Well, I smelt it." But you know what they say, whoever smelt it dealt it.
Yep.
Yeah, he appeared impaired. They got some new pictures.
Perfect. Last week. I think it was either Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. I saw a car disappear. I was about to turn on to 95 to head back to my station. And a car disappeared. And I said, man, that's kind of strange because I don't think there's an intersection right there. And he was going too fast to get to make that turn. Okay, so I turn onto the on-ramp to get on 95. And I look to my right and I see some headlights. I said, what's those headlights doing? There ain't no road over there. I parked my truck on the side of that off ramp as soon as it got wide enough for me to be able to park the truck. I walked about 1,000 feet back. And I was just looking down in the trees, looking down in the trees, looking down in the trees. I saw it. I ended up seeing some headlights down there in the trees. Because there's the overpass. And apparently the people drove off of the overpass into the trees.
Son Claude, you out here being superhero?
So I ended up calling 911. And they came.
Good job, bro.
They came, the guy who was in the accident walked out of the car. He walked up that steep embankment. The car was upside down. So he walked up that steep embankment. I think it was like 20 to 15 feet. The dude was barefoot. The dude didn't even have, I asked him, hey, do you have your phone on you or whatever? He said, I don't have my phone. It's in the car. He came out of there in socks. Well, his eyes all bugged open. High on that adrenaline. In fact, he wanted to walk to the gas station to go use the restroom.
He was bugging.
That gas station was like 1,500 feet away. I told him, look, wait until the ambulance gets here. Because right now you high on that adrenaline. And if you go down there to that gas station, that adrenaline might run out on your way there, or while you're there, you might collapse. You might even have a broken arm or something broken on you right now, and you don't feel it because of that adrenaline. So he stayed there. The ambulance came. I went on my way. But if I were to testify to it, I could say, yeah, it looked like he was impaired. His eyes were wide open, like he was high on something. Yeah, he was high on something. He was high on that adrenaline. He was just in an accident. His car just flew through the air and dropped down 20 feet down to the bottom of this embankment into some trees. Upside down. And he climbed out of that car. Oh, he's impaired. That boy has a broken hip. You have a broken hip. You imagine what kind of pain that is, and you're going to tell me you're going to be able to tell if a person's impaired when they're in that kind of pain? And they were in an accident? And they just finished witnessing a car on fire right in front of their eyes?
Might have heard the screams.
And yep, and I was about to say that. And heard somebody screaming, burning to death.
You guys see him on the ground? You guys see him on the ground? This is the brother right here. Y'all see him on the ground? Hey, man, pray for that. Man.
So who was recording?
Good point, bro. I don't know. They got the whole...
A bad Samaritan, that's who was recording.
The same one that recorded that woman in Philly that was on the train. I still don't even want to talk about this story. I keep trying to get away from that.
Yeah, and I said, I didn't misspeak. I said a bad Samaritan.
Yeah.
You know how long that person was standing there recording that shit? They could have been recording it when the fire was all the way in the back. They could have had a chance to run over there and pull the person out.
Right.
And that's the only time that I would say I would even hazard to touch somebody who was in a car accident is if the car catches on fire. Otherwise, I'll leave them right there where they are. Because people are so litigious.
Right. You see the people over there checking on them?
Yep, they ain't even walking up to the car.
Somebody at the car checking on them.
And nobody stopping because fire extinguishers.
It looks like
Don't have one, get one.
Look like yeah, you should have that in your car too. Especially your wife, your daughter. Make sure she got this stuff in her car.
It's happy that there might be someone still inside the vehicle. that's on fire. I got your rescue added in the heavy also. Let me know if you need something else.
Engine 22 is on scene, establishing Rainbow Command. As reported, we do have one vehicle that's on fire, fully involved. Another vehicle is also involved in the accident, not on fire. Looks like we have 2 people sitting on the sidewalk. Break dispatch. Go ahead and start the second ambulance, please.
Unit 32, that call got changed to an Alpha. Are we still responding to this call? Yeah, it's affirmative. The Alpha unconscious. You guys still respond. Great, you got it.
So this is the car. It got a wrap on it in the daytime. It's a green, got a green wrap on it. And there's another car on the tow truck, y'all. So maybe there's another potential witness. Am I muted? Okay. Y'all see the other car? There may be another potential witness. So we have a Purus on fire. This is his Corvette, brand new 2020 mid-engine Corvette. You see it nice with that green wrap on it. And then there's a Durango also on the tow truck. So is the Durango potentially in the accident? I don't know. I'm speculating. So I'm just wondering, is that potentially? And so Sunclaw, you see that tire. So he tried to avoid the accident. You see that? So how impaired was he?
It looks like, yeah, it looks like somebody hit him from the back. Because why would that tire in the back be like that?
Why would that tire in the back be like that? And what was that black?
It wouldn't unless he was hit in the back. Or maybe after he hit the Prius, maybe his car slid into the
median
into the curb. Yeah.
Which also mean he was trying to avoid the accident. And what was she doing at a dead stop in the middle of the street?
Because here's the thing. She could have been dead. She could have been having an asthma attack, a panic attack, whatever, and just stopped right there in the middle of the street.
And he's forced to try to maneuver out of it. He's forced to try to figure out something. And he may be coming at a high rate of speed, but not breaking the speed limit. And he's
once again,
and he's
black box.
Right.
And he's young. Look,
22. In a brand
I've had people say, "Hey, I saw you in such and such city. I waved at you and you didn't wave at me." I don't look at people in the cars. If I'm coming to an intersection, I'll look at the cab of that car for a second. Why? To see if they look my way. If they don't look my way, I get anxious. This person ain't paying attention. I also, you know what I also do? I look at the wheels of the cars as they come to an intersection. Does it look like those wheels are slowing down? Sometimes people don't have their turn signals on. I look at the tires again to see if they turn in a particular direction, because people have this bad habit of not turning on their fucking turn signals.
It's called defensive driving, Sunclaw. So I teach my kids, you have to drive defensively. It used to be taught.
It's not taught.
Defensive driving. You assume that they're going to hit you. You assume that they don't know how to drive. I learned this in driving class. Defensive driving. Terminology, I didn't create it.
And sometimes you even have to give up the right of way in certain situations. You say, oh, no, I got the right of way. Like hell you do. I was working and on my way back to the station. Late at night, I think it was like 10:30. And I'm at an intersection. I have the green light. I looked both ways. A tractor trailer ran the green light, the red light. I don't just go automatically because I got the green light. I look before I move forward.
You know the funny thing? So I'm basically fighting this little issue right now. I'm driving down the road. 3 lanes, 2 lanes are the main, 1 lane is a turning lane. So I'm approaching the bridge to get ready to get on the interstate. I'm in the middle lane. So gets over to the left in the turning lane. Right when I get ready to cross the bridge, there's a person turning left to get on the intersection. I mean, get on the highway. So I see the guy. He stopped. I'm driving. I tend to slow down because I'm looking over to see if anybody's behind me, and I'm about to be able to get over. And driving trucks, you tend to look at both mirrors. So I look at my right, which I would look at my left to get in, but I also look at my left side before I get over, because I actually caught myself in a number of accidents by looking like that, to where someone was speeding and they actually came in my lane, but because I was looking on my right side, I noticed I hurry up and jumped in the center lane for turning. They flew past me, ran across all four lanes and ran into a pole. If it wasn't for me looking in my right mirror when I was making a left turn, that car would have smacked dead right in the back of me and pushed me into the opposite side of traffic. I got to hit both ways. So I always do that.
And
Now,
I do the same thing.
I'm actually getting on the interstate. I'm actually getting ready to get on the interstate. So I'm going through the light. I'm getting ready to go through the light that this guy's making a left turn. Once again, I said I slowed down to get over. As soon as I slowed down to get over, I'm crossing over the lane. This guy thought he can beat it because technically, if I'm getting out of this lane, if he guns it fast enough, he'll just miss me by a hair. He was already rushing anyway. So lo and behold, I see him. I say, don't do it. I see him edging up. I say, don't do it. So I tend to slow down even more. He jumps out in front of me. I tear him up in the back. So he's like, oh, man, it's my fault, man. I'm sorry, man. I said, no problem, man. I'm okay, not hurt. So tell her, talk to the officer. Officer says, did you run the red light? I said, no. He said, you sure? I said, I'm positive. It was a green light. There was no yellow light, no nothing. It was green. I was getting over. He said, well, how do you know? I said, because I looked in both lanes after I seen the light green and I was still proceeding. The guy tried to hurry up and cut in front of me because there was no one around me. I said, I looked in both lanes. I looked on both sides. There was nobody around me. So there was no need for him to shoot in front of me. He could have just waited after I passed. But then that's the thing. The light was going to turn red if he would have done that. So he was thinking, well, I need to hurry up. This guy going too slow. Maybe I can beat him. And this is the bad part about that. This guy literally works off that exit. And if he knew and paying attention, this how I knew this thing was going to happen. That light on his side turns green. His light turns green. It's yellow, but it also turns green. My side turns red for him to cross. So if he would have just waited just a little bit longer, he would have ended up going through the light. Now, he tells the officer, I ran the light. It's my fault. Officer gives him the ticket. Goes to the insurance company. He tells the insurance company, I ran the light because he had the right of way because his light turned green. He goes to court to try to fight it. I don't know the proceeding because, I didn't have to go to court. It wasn't my fault. I'm assuming that he tried to fight it and failed miserably because he admitted to the fault. So why would you go in court and say, well, he did it? But before that, you said you were guilty. Well, I thought I did. Sir, why would you admit guilt before, but now change your plea? And so I'm dealing with that right now with this guy. And, I got to go fix my own car. So fix my car. I got to sue him and actually sue the insurance company. I was thinking about just suing the insurance company and leave him alone, but because he lied, I'm just gonna be petty. I know he don't have about $5,000 to pay for my lawyer fees and my vehicle, so
Oh, don't worry. That's what he got insurance for,
yeah,
to pay those court costs.
yep.
And I've been kind of wondering about this, but they sell these cameras, these dash cams.
Yeah.
And a dash cam would have caught that. would have caught his foolishness.
And see, the bad thing that he don't know that there's a camera in that intersection. So all I have to do is get my lawyer to pull the feed from that camera, and he's automatically guilty. I already seen that when I was over there with him. And the bad part, I thought I was recording him telling me that, it's his fault and all this stuff, but I ended up clicking over. My wife called me and it stopped the recording. It got all the way up into the part where he was like, yeah, man, sorry, my bad, man. And I clicked over my wife. He was admitting everything. Like, yeah, man, I was rushing, man. I got to go to Flowery Branch. Like, I can also tell them, I'm like, this guy was going to Flowery Branch. He called an Uber. See where his Uber went. The guy, everything he told me, how did I know this guy was going to Flowery Branch in a meeting or something up there? He called an Uber because the cops won't let him drive. He swore to the cop, I can drive it. Look, there's nothing wrong with it. He's like, you don't even have a right tail light. He said, man, the lights still work, looks. And you can see it, the light's working. All you had to do is put some tape on it like most people do and keep driving. But he was so adamant about driving that car. So adamant about driving that car. And I was like, man, everybody's like, oh, man, go to chiropractor, do this and do that. I was like, nah, I don't want to do anything like that because I don't want nobody to do me like that. Lo and behold, this guy stuck me. I was like, me being an honest person, not trying to take him to the ringers or anything like that, end up not working in my favor, I should have been a ruthless nice guy. That's what I should have did. Would have said, oh, cool, no problem. Went to a chiropractor, got paid for all that stuff. But like, I don't like that because karma comes back on people who do things like that. And then the bad part about it is it won't even happen to me. It'll happen to my son. My son could be doing something a couple years from now and something happened to him. And he's just like, why am I getting so much bad luck? That's what I like about what's my guy? The Nameless Protagonist. He talks about epigenetics, and he talks about the way the genetics to where most people have this whole pity and they keep pushing it into the family like we're worthless, we're never going to be nothing, or we're empowered, we're strong. Look at the Vanderbilts. I talked about this the other day, how the Vanderbilts versus the Rockefellers still got money. It's a mindset. And that's what the karma plays on that mindset as well.
I like Nameless Protagonist and that epigenetics, man. We broke down that epigenetics on here one day. I forget, that might have been a Thursday show, but we were talking about, because epigenetics is a complex word, many syllables, and individuals who never heard the term may not be familiar, but we were talking about, and she is very telling that you're on the panel because it was a show about feelings and emotions, right? And negative feelings and emotions. And it was when Dr. Green broke down how we get to epigenetics, right? This is the progression of epigenetics. She talks about, and Gold Professor and Black Guru, about men thinking logically and not thinking with their feelings to make the best logical decision, right? And epigenetics starts and stems from these. Let's say you have an argument, right? Me and she get into an argument. You and your wife get into an argument. That argument is unresolved, right? So it leaves you bitter, right? It leaves you with an emotion, a bitter emotion, a feeling, like she would say, So that feeling, yo, man, you did a good one today, boy. Let me give you something. So that mood, that bad mood sets in, right? When that bad mood, when that emotion sets in, it becomes what people call a mood. Like Monday, the moody Mondays, when you got the Monday blues. Hey, Dennis, how you doing today? You look down today. Hey, son, Carl, how you doing today, bro? You look down today. Hey, she, man, you smile all the time. You look very up and cheery today. You always have a positive outlook, a cheery mood, right? So you might have an argument that took place yesterday or this morning with your wife. So now you have a bad mood in the car. Somebody might cut you off, right? If that mood lingers, that mood becomes a temperament, right? And what do we say about Black women in this space? We say a lot of men say, I don't want to date Black women because of their temperament. Their temperament is an elongated mood, right, is when you don't. The thing why she is singing that song like that so passionately is because what we've talked about with the what's that author Oedipus he talked about not letting negative thoughts nest. So when she is trying to remind you, having these emotions are normal. It's not abnormal for men. Men shouldn't hide from their emotions, but you're supposed to process them healthy. Let them flow through because emotions are temporary. Feel the grief, feel it. Don't try to hide from it. Feel the pain, have the cry, have the laughter, and let it pass through and continue on your mission. But when you keep that bad mood, it becomes a temperament. So black women have a alleged stigma of a moody temperament or being masculine or being overbearing, right? That's a black woman's temperament. That elongated temperament becomes what, and then here's the connection, becomes a personality trait. So we hear epigenetics, but what really helped me is this breakdown, and when you understand what a personality trait is, that this elongated motion from the trauma. A lot of us in this space have PTSD. We've gone through a lot of trauma, and we've held on to this trauma. This trauma, when held on to and embodied, becomes a personality trait. That's how you pass it genetically. Because traits like in dogs, let me put it to something that we can understand because we from the hood. We like a brindle pit, or I want the pit with the black patch. You know what I'm saying? Or I want the blue nose fawn. I want a red nose, like a red nose. Shake it like a red nose. That I can relate it to pits because we understand traits when it comes to pits. And she might got some pits, I might got some pits, and we know, hey, Dennis, let's make this pit, this bitch with this male and this sire, because we want brindle, and that's what's selling right now. We want gray brindles. The girls want that light gray brindle, gray and white brindle, not the traditional black and brown brindle, but we want that light gray and white brindle. So we want to bring out these traits in these dogs. That's epigenetics. It's these personality traits that become genetically passed down in these inner city broken communities. That's when grandma says the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Because when you hear epigenetics, you're like, well, how is it in my blood? Well, how is it I'm getting these things? Remember, we said, have you ever heard that you act like your daddy, but you never met your daddy? Have anybody ever said that to you like an insult? I hate that nigga. I hate you. You remind me of your daddy. I ain't even never met him, mama. You don't even tell me about him.
The attitude, the look,
You carry personality traits of your father. That's epigenetics.
Yep.
I just took a little sidebar, just a little.
Go ahead. Keep cooking. Cook.
No, I learned that one day, and I like Nameless is like a godsend to this community, but that's such a highbrow conversation him and big discussion I've had. And even for myself, I didn't know what epigenetics meant. And when they broke down how feelings are the root of epigenetics, it made so much sense why it's a relevant topic for Black Americans. Because we suffer from the trauma, from these feelings and these emotions, and we hold on to them. The word black, the word nigga, the word bitch. This is epigenetics. This is trauma that we held on to. Pimp. You got to be a pimp. You got to be a player. This is why we push back on the PUA. That's epigenetics. That if you don't know how to get at a bitch, and if you don't even know how to say that the way I say it, then somehow you lame. That's the epigenetics. We pass that shit down. Our kids walk, talk, act like us, like she just said, and carry our personality traits. So the next time you hear the discussion of epigenetics, it's when you carry your mother and father's personality traits. The goal, I believe, of the manosphere initially was when 5.0 man elevating men, and what me and Sunclaw and she talk about a lot is elevating men from their human nature, elevating men from their animalistic nature to this godly being who understands and has control over these things. Who understands that my mother programmed me subconsciously, my father programmed me, that I've taken on certain personality traits, not only from my parents, but from my community. the violence, the over sexualization may not have happened in my home. If you look at Menace to Society, Kane was raised by his grandparents. Old Dog couldn't even do all that shit in his they lived in the projects. But Kane's father was murdered. His mom was on crack. Kane lived with his grandparents, couldn't curse, was a very respectful boy. That's why he had the pretty girlfriends. But y'all remember that day that Old Dog came and got him when they found out in the beginning who shot his cousin Harold? Y'all remember what the fuck it looked like when he walked out that house? And people just be watching the movie, man. They don't know that's our real life. That's what stuck out to me. And then J-Rock in one of his first videos did a similar video where he came out of the projects and it was nice on the inside with the big old leather couches, the big screen, and the big old fish tank. Looked like Sunnydale Projects. And as soon as he came outside, it was a jungle. The neighborhood is called the jungle. Y'all go back and watch Menace to Society, man. See what these boys is dealing with, man. Kane walked, and then remember the grandfather? The grandfather came out the house and said, Kane, he said, do you care if you live or die? He said, I don't know.
Yep. I remember that. That's one of my favorite movies, man. When it come down to it, man, it's a process going through the struggles of living in the hood. Because it's one side, you want to be this different person. You want to, like the Cleavers or the Beavers, But then on the other side, you got to be tough. You got to put in the work. What the regulators say, you got to be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. It's not like I want to do this. Society forces me to do this. So what I got to do? I got to give society what they want. In order to survive for myself, I have to give society what they want. Like, I don't want to be this bad person. I don't want to be known as the drug dealer and all this other stuff. But the number one rule is society standards, man. We live and we learn. We live and we die. In between time, we get money. You're forced to live this way.
Hey, that's getting into that psychology. Did you catch our show? We got saying Sheed, that book. We got a book we read, and Sheed. It's gonna be very illuminating. But we talked about that yesterday when we talked about David Buss in the book Men Behaving Badly. And you hear what he said, Son Claw? He said we don't have a choice.
I was on there. And I'm gonna recommend you this book I got from Zoe Williams. It's Power versus Force. Guys. Power versus Force. I think the guy's name is David Hawkins, I believe, but it's called Power versus Force.
I like that.
And it has a scale on there. You'll like it.
It has a scale. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It shows you. I actually one of my videos, I actually was going to do on it, but then I just started going around. I kind of danced around it because I was like, a lot of people not ready for this.
Hey,
because
let's do it.
It holds. It's accountability, man. You gotta. That's why I always talk about what Gold P. I tell him, I say, man, your channel holding people feet to the fire when all they want to do is just laugh and have fun. I say, but the point of it is, what Old Dog say? Who's joking and who's playing, man? What he say? They killed your cousin. They banged on him.
Who killed your cousin? It's real shit, man. Hey, let's go on to closing, man. I'm about to go pick up these. I want to slush you, man. I got some other topics. I didn't get me a Cash App today, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it out, man. Y'all supposed to Cash App Perfect Timing This is a show funded by the listener, for the listener. I done did a whole 4-hour show. We had 3 hours and 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I had another, what was the other video? I'll show this video real quick because I love y'all. But we're going to get out of here with y'all cheapskate asses. Share the video and donate to the channel. All you cheapskate asses out there, man. One last video. We've been following this Kyle Rittenhouse, and the trial started today. So we're going to watch this. SunClaw brought up some great points about this case that a lot of people don't know. That's what's so beautiful about this platform. We're able to share things here that you may not have learned or known anywhere else.
The teenager killed 2 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin during protests last year in the aftermath of the Jacob Blake police shooting. Now, what has a lot of people paying attention this morning is a pretty controversial decision by the judge in a pre-trial hearing, as there were some ground rules set that the prosecution is not happy with.
The word victim is a loaded word. And I think alleged victim is a cousin to it. Let the evidence show what the evidence shows, and if the evidence shows that any or more than one of these people were engaging in arson, rioting, or looting, then I'm not going to tell the defense they can't call them that.
Okay, Early Star co-anchor and attorney and legal reporter Laura Jarrett joins us now. Let me just make crystal clear what happened there in case people didn't get it. The judge just said
that person, right? That those two things don't go together. So I think this trial is going to be extremely fraught. The judge has also decided
We actually watched that video before. I thought that was a new video. It's not a new video. It came out today, but it's not a new video. But basically today it says the trial has begun, and it had a picture of the 3 guys that were shot. And I think SunClaw was one of the first people to present the information that these 3 individuals shot were all white. There go the old boy with the gun right there. Shot, and this a new picture. We ain't got this one yet. Rittenhouse shot in the chest.
What do you find significant about the events that?
What were you gonna say? Something?
Oh yeah, perfect. You remember the last time we talked about this issue? Be careful what parts of the video you show.
Right. They didn't like us. They didn't like us showing that what actually took place. So we're gonna be careful.
Precede the first shooting.
Right. So as you say, we analyzed a lot of live streams, a lot of standalone videos, hours of footage, and there's a lot of footage that captures Mr. Rittenhouse prior to the shooting. So as you just showed, we see the Daily Caller interview, as well as several other interviews with him early on, where he claims to be protecting property at this car dealership auto shop. And he spends most of the time prior to the shooting around this one area. We see him there with this group of armed men, and they are protecting this dealership. And about 15 minutes prior to the shooting in that location, we actually see them have an interaction with police. And so what that looks like is police officers coming up to this group. They actually thank them for their work. They say, "We really appreciate you guys. We really do." They give them water. And during that time, Kyle is speaking to them directly, and he's armed with his AR-15 style rifle during this interaction.
Case closed. Case closed. Case closed. Shout out to Sabrina for the cash app. Thank you for the cash app. He's white. He's going to get off self-defense. Bet any money. Sabrina, you white too. But case closed. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Interaction with the police, with the gun. Nobody stopped him. Henry, what's the young brother name that was in the car accident? Let me go back to, what's the name of this brother name? What's this? Henry Ruggs III. Henry Ruggs III facing 20 years, already arrested, already charged. You know how long it took to charge this boy? Y'all don't should get in this fire. Thank you, Sabrina, for the cash app, but y'all don't deserve this fire. You know how long it took to charge this boy? Henry Ruggs III, charged in hours, on the ground, hip broken, career gone, 22 years old, baby boy, charged within hours, 20 years, facing his whole life gone. This boy ran away. Y'all remember he ran away. He was on the run. He said, I'm not coming in. They asked him. Sabrina said, I'm North African. Yeah. Cecilia. Okay. Remember, Kyle Rittenhouse did not want to surrender, much like what's the other case? I can't recall right now. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't surrender. He was on the run, y'all. He finally, after much pleading, came in and turned himself in. He was out partying and drinking. He was all on Instagram, flaunting the fact that he wouldn't turn himself in. All that shit need to come into play in the court case. But yet still, he was allowed. Do y'all know how long ago this was? Our brother is facing 20 years in a matter of hours. When was the protest? Anybody know when was the protest? Somebody look it up. When was the protest?
What was that, last year, a year and a half ago?
Come on now.
But here's the thing.
He's having a conversation with the police officers.
Remember that a police station was burned down in Seattle?
I do. They took over a whole section of the city.
If he had turned himself in immediately, guess what was going to happen? That crowd just hadn't dissipated yet. They were going to burn down that jail where he was at.
They needed him out there. They gave them water. They told them thank you. That's why I paused the video. The police gave him water, told him thank you. The police gave them points where they wanted them to be. They were all white. When we all white, it's all right. The police were telling these guys, you guys stand over here, you guys stand over there. That's what actually occurred. The police put these guys at certain points because like we talked about with the Jabby Wabby, we are down, you guys. We are down. I got a story I'm not going to do because I'm going to close it out. But right, did y'all hear about the airline canceling 2,000 flights? Canceling 2,000 flights, and it's the second time they did it. And now they being forced to reveal we don't have enough staff. They don't have enough staff. This shit is hitting the fan in America. We're getting rid of police. We're getting rid of nurses. We're getting rid of doctors. We're getting rid of stewardess. We're getting rid of the pilots. You're getting rid of employees. Shit is coming to a screeching halt. I'm going to share with something with y'all scary that y'all don't deserve. Something else y'all don't deserve. Me and Sabrina was getting on the freeway last night, and I said this on the podcast before. Sabrina said, hey, Daddy, remember when you told me what's this right here? I said, it's a staging point. She said, yeah, but for what? I said, to me, it seems like they might cut off the freeways and seal us in the interior of the city. And she was like, yeah, it kind of looked like that. I said, they're not working on that. I said a year ago on my podcast that they've effectively changed the speed limit to 55 with all this fake ass construction. So I live in California. Do y'all got a shitload of fake ass construction on y'all freeways?
Not as of now, but it was. And the crazy part of, like you just talking about that, I drove trucks. So one time I came back in town, I got a ticket. And you know, in Georgia, they got super speeder. Anybody that goes 20 miles over the speed limit is considered a super speeder. So your ticket is either doubled or tripled. So basically, I'm coming back in town, and all of a sudden, I'm doing 70. The guy pulls me over for doing 71. And I said I wasn't doing 71. He said, well, I clocked you. I said, show me. And he was like, well, I can't do that. But the point of it is you was doing 71, and I'm going to go ahead and knock it to 70 so you won't get a super speeder ticket and everything. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but 70 is the speed limit. He's like, nope, the speed limit in the perimeter right now is 55.
Yep.
55.
Thank you, Sheed. Thank you, Sheed. Sunclaw already then said, one of the things I saw in California, Sunclaw said, these supermarkets look like third world countries. Now, I didn't know that she would answer like that, but it's obvious to me that they slowed down the freeways and the sheeple haven't recognized it. Like they've effectively changed the speed limit to 55 with all these cone zones. And the thing about it that I said to her is that the cone zone doesn't end. It's all over Sacramento. That's not even legal to have so many cone zones because I don't know when the speed limit is 55 and when it's not 55. You best just to drive 55.
Yep.
And why, son Claude? You know you could.
Perfect. Do you remember? Do you remember?
Hey, when it was like
back in the late 70s and after the oil crisis of the 1970s, the speed limit across the country was dropped down to 55 miles an hour.
Was it the gas shortage?
Do you know why?
Was it the gas shortage?
Yeah.
It was the gas shortage.
Uh-huh. It's because cars are more fuel efficient. The slower they go, and 55 miles an hour is more fuel efficient than 60. It's more fuel efficient than 65. It's more fuel efficient than 70. But effectively what you have is a ticket trap, a speed trap for the whole city. So that they can rake in that money.
And why would they do that after 18 months of not collecting revenue, everybody?
To tax the poor.
Do you think cities are broke? Yeah, you guys, y'all remember Ferguson? So why would they do that? You think the police officers are not getting the overtime that they used to? Huh? Y'all don't understand how this shit working.
And didn't it come out that Ferguson was notorious for giving these speed tickets and fines on top of fines if you couldn't pay? And
to one particular population.
Exactly.
Yep. They were funding the entire city on it. So now cities are doing the same thing, and it makes sense because cities are bankrupt because they haven't been able to collect revenue in over 2 years.
Perfect. It's California. It kills two birds with one stone. The cars are going to be more fuel efficient. That means that they're greener. They're going to be burning less fossil fuels, and it's going to increase revenue. It's a win-win for them.
Win-win for the liberal. And no one's talking about it. Just my black conspiracy theory ass. You know, I bring this up in the barbershop. Niggas laugh me out the barbershop. Oh, nigga, you just drive. You drive too fast. You know what I mean? You can't talk about this shit, man. I've been saying it for a year. You the first two common sense people that I've spoken to. I'm like, I'm just in my car. I just laugh to myself. I'm like, no one noticed that the speed limit is 55. There's nobody out here working on the highway. Sheeple we just do it. We put on the mask, we go 55, we buy brown lettuce. I haven't seen good lettuce for a year. I eat vegetables. We don't eat vegetables. I haven't seen green produce for a year. But nobody give a fuck. That ain't black shit. Somebody right now laughing at me. That's not black. Right? That ain't niggas. We don't eat Brussels sprouts in the spare. I love Brussels sprouts. Some roasted Brussels sprouts with some onions and some garlic or some on the grill. I'll make my baby some grilled Brussels sprouts. Cut them in half, put them on the grill. Man, or in the air fryer. You had some fried air fryer, Brussels sprouts, olive oil, garlic. I ain't seen no green vegetables in a year. Costco, I used to love to go to Costco in the cold room. All that shit. You know, they had a fruit bowl, the straw, everything been shitty for a year. Nobody ain't said shit. We eat fucking horrible. I'm digging through lettuce. Somebody tell me when last time you bought a head of lettuce that wasn't already fucking brown. Cam Robb said the city of Philly is the first state to ban low-level traffic stops. Oh, that's across the board, Cam. That's across the board, Cam. I just saw the Senator Ted Cruz getting at California and San Francisco. You know, we both from the San Francisco Bay Area, Cam. And Ted Cruz was just beating up on the CEO of CVS and Walgreens because Gavin Newsom in San Francisco has outlawed anything under $950. Come on, Cam Robb. Hello, this is the perfect man right here. You know, we give you all that real shit. I'm not promoting shoplifting, but that's why we got this problem with homelessness in California. Hey, Sabrina, baby girl, did you know that in California that under $950 in San Francisco, they won't arrest or prosecute? If you steal under $950, Ted Cruz was saying to CBS, so CBS, do you think that it's changed the amount of theft? CBS said no. And he said, Cruz was like, whose side is you on? I'm trying to help you. The CBS guy said it's not a big city problem. It's not about the small shoplifters. It's about organized crime. And Ted Cruz is like, man, you a fucking idiot. I'm trying to ask you a question. Since San Francisco and California has decriminalized shoplifting to the level of $950, have you seen shoplifting increase in San Francisco and California more than outside of San Francisco and California? He said no. So these are things that are being done because they're not going to give you money. So, Sunclaw, again, why? Why would they decriminalize shoplifting, not solve the homeless problem, but not and decriminalize shoplifting up to $950? Basically, you're telling the homeless people without money, you can go shop for your food and the things you need, and we won't arrest you. Straight up.
You know what happened when things were free? During those protests, they had a special sale, a brick sale.
A fire sale.
Everything must go.
Everything must go. I do recall that. I did not partake, but I do recall, sir.
Now, hold on a second. They can steal how much?
Up until $950. San Francisco had decriminalized
of any other merchandise inside of the business.
Look it up. Petty
At a pharmacy?
Shoplifting, CVS, petty theft.
Are you hearing what I'm saying, Perfect?
This is
condoms.
They can steal up to $950 of merchandise from a pharmacy.
Yep. And then look, Cameron said ban low level.
You know what they have in them pharmacies too. So technically, they can go back in there and steal $950 worth of medication.
Correct.
Yeah.
Make the meth,
and not be prosecuted.
Yep.
Meth. That's one of the biggest things. What is meth made by? Over-the-counter medicine.
Yep.
I was listening to a show. Some called the Bubble Show down in Florida. It's a syndicated show. They listed all the ingredients to make meth live on the air. Red match tips, red Sudafeds, all kind of other little stuff. But I don't want to too much say, but you get the whole drift. All that stuff, mix it up, and make meth. And they say it's so bad to where if you actually deal meth in your house to the point where you cooking that stuff, the fumes and stuff will get in the wall. You can't have no gas stove. It'll blow your house up. Can't have no gas stove. You gotta go. You got to go. Crazy. Man, I forgot to put my board on. Dang. I gotta take it back off.
Now, here's what it's interesting because I was just thinking about it. Now, would that be $950? Let's say somebody broke into your house and stole some stuff from you, merchandise, a TV that only goes up for like.
It was shoplifting. He was specifically talking about shoplifting, CVS, and I brought it up because Cam Robb had brought up in relation to what we were talking about with the police, because Cam Robb said they've outlawed low-level traffic stops. So they've done that in cities out here in California, like Vallejo was bankrupt. They outlawed Stockton. You can't do low-level traffic stops. And then to go along, so this is what happens when you defund the police. This is what's happening. And this is part of defunding the police, the traffic stop. And then who gets hurt by this? Where is speeding going to occur? Where the car accidents? So no more traffic stops in the inner city. So that means speed races, donuts, all that shit. And then no more shoplifting. And what about the small businesses? What about the mom and pops who own stores? Now you can't call the police because there ain't enough police to come out. So now that small business is going to go out of business because they're going to shoplift them out of business. He was talking to the CEO of CVS and Walgreens. He wanted them to tell him that the liberal decision of California and San Francisco is aiding and abetting, and they refuse. Ted Cruz wanted CVS to say that liberal decision like this, and then the guy wouldn't. He said, well, why not just make the law like that across the country? Why not just make theft legal up until $950? And then Walgreens said, well, we don't want you to do that. He said, well, why not? I'm asking you if it's created more theft, and you will not answer the question. So why not just make it like that for the whole country? He's over there working on something.
Oh, damn. I forgot to put my bad.
But yeah, so did anybody look it up? Anybody in the chat look it up? Cam Rob, can you look it up? What's that law?
They're not going to admit to something like that, though.
Right. What's wrong? Come here. Come
Yeah,
here.
I seen this story on Wisconsin, for the record. They were talking about this. They had people going in the store stealing condoms, tampons,
formula.
And formula. And all, but this is the crazy part. All the things that they steal, majority, guess where they go to? To the flea markets, where he's selling these over-the-counter medicine, Sudafed, and all that stuff at the flea market, tissues and all this stuff. They're selling CVS and Walgreens brands at the flea market. You don't get this stuff wholesale. Where are you getting it from? 5-finger discount. That's where. That's the only place you can get it. Uh-oh. Don't have a DJ on your hand.
Yeah, perfect. You need to start making some baby food, man.
Out of what? Ain't nothing in the grocery store. That's what we were just talking about.
You got vegetables in the garden, man.
Oh yeah,
organic baby food, man.
Oh yeah, the garden, man. The garden is but you know what? The winter stuff is doing good. I need to go back out there. I planted a whole winter garden, and the collard greens, man. The collard greens was giving me so much trouble in the summertime, but the collard greens going crazy in the cold. Collard greens going crazy in the cold. And I got some you know what I like? I like she's Sicilian, so I like you ever had broccolini?
No, pray tell.
It's good, man. It's like a Sicilian broccoli, like an Italian broccoli. It's good. You get like Italian restaurants, like little pieces of broccoli. So I got some of that out there. Yeah, and I think I got some cauliflower. The winter shit doing pretty good. The sage, I planted some sage. The sage didn't do all that good, but the winter shit doing pretty good. I might be able to make me some collard greens. And I still got peppers. I don't eat the nightshade vegetables, but the peppers went crazy because the peppers got that lactin in it. And I'm trying to eat more of the dark berries with the, I was telling she with the polyprophosphols or whatever the hell, but it gives you energy. That's why I get that Costco, that super berry pack with the blueberries, the cherries, the dark berries, brothers. As you get older, you want them dark berries. And you know, Gerald, that OG, he told us about that watermelon juice. That watermelon, that's better than Viagra, man. Get you that watermelon.
I thought it was a man who was talking about that watermelon juice.
It might have been the man. Shout out to the man too, man. Shout out to the man.
And has anybody talked to him recently? Has it gotten any better?
I haven't spoken to him.
What happened to the man? He got cold or something?
Yeah.
Oh no, I ain't know anything about that. You know. Shoot. I'm gonna holler at what's called. I think I got his number.
Irv?
I'll have to holler at Irv.
I'm gonna call him too. I've been meaning to call him back. I've been busy.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of numbers, man. I'll be busy, man. Only time I catch you guys is on these panels.
Man,
majority of the time I'm working.
I mean, it's not like you be working all the time. So where do you even find time to sleep, man?
Lazy boy. Look right there, man. And it's at night. And you know you've been up all day. You know, it's 6:30 here, so it got to be damn near 10 o'clock. You've been working since 6 in the morning, man. Tree job, man.
She one of them dudes. Yeah, you can sleep when you dead, man. Keep working. Keep working.
People gonna think you don't want to go home, she.
Yeah. Hey, you don't love your wife, man. Hey.
People gonna think she don't want to go home, man. What time is it out there? She is a 9 or 10, bro. Is it 9 or 10, bro?
9:38.
9:38, bro. And I know you started at 6.
Actually, today I started at 8. No. 8. Was it 7:30? No, 8 o'clock. Yeah. I had my alarm set for 6:30. I rolled back over, and then I said, "Man, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go in later on." So I ended up setting my alarm to about 8. Got up. Kids can go to school because of voting today.
Right.
So I went over, checked them out, and one of my sons, this guy never sleeps, so he's up. Hey, Daddy, what's going on? I said, yeah, what's going on? Make sure you clean up. I don't want to come to no dirty house when I get home later on. He said, all right. I ain't even gonna see him because I'm gonna be out.
Right.
Tomorrow.
You might be.
I'm about to finish with this job right here. So once I finish this one, I'm gonna take a little vacation for a minute from my side jobs. Focus on them and get back at it right before Christmas come in.
Yeah, it's holiday.
I ain't buying too many gifts this year. Every year I go Santa, my wife goes Grinch. She be like, no, you spoil them. I'm like, look, you talking to somebody that ain't never had nothing. So ain't no way in the world my kids ain't gonna have something.
Right. But this year, our story I did yesterday, man.
Yeah, I know.
Buy your turkey now, buy your shit now. It's gonna be bad, man. But hey, y'all, let's close it out, man. I need y'all to close it out. I gotta go handle this shit with the fam.
Yep.
Everybody crying and screaming. I gotta go put my bid in. Which
Ain't
I got.
wrong with it.
Which I got.
Okay. All right. For the end discussion, I'm just gonna say, at the end of the day, make sure you get all the evidence before you let people prosecute you. That young man, if he did or didn't, it's up to a jury to decide. Don't let nobody ultimately make that decision for you. Because in every instance, we always get prosecuted, not even by a jury of our peers. We just get prosecuted on the strength of just, he did it. There's nothing else to say. He did it. He did what? Whatever you think he did. So that guy, man, he's got a long fight ahead of him, and I wish him well, because somebody got to get the finger pointed at him, and I guess, like I say, might as well be him. All right, fellas, tell little baby, what's going on out there? Hey, all right now.
All right, good night.
Hey, Ken, where's that cash at, man?
Say that again.
I said to Ken, where's that cash at? Mr. 1 more hour.
Yeah, but Ken want 1 more hour. He on that cricket. Uncle Ken in the building. Say hello. You sneezing all on Daddy Mike. You got all type of snoogies and noogies on there. What you doing, mama? Say hi. Say what's up, Suckler. Uncle Suckler. Go ahead.
She just bite. Man, don't let her bite on the mic, Daddy. No. It's germ.
That thing don't taste right.
It's germ.
All the germs. Just go. A couple more boogers on there, Thank you.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye, mamas. You can stay. Don't get mad.
We leaving now. We leaving now. You might as well stay. We leaving.
Like Gladys Knight. We're leaving.
She's about to get mad.
On the midnight train to Georgia. And she'd already there.
Yeah. Hey, y'all meet me here. I'm already here.
Right. Beautiful.
All right. I'm out.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. God bless everybody. Have a good night.